Welcome to the 2026 IPF World Sub-Junior and Junior Classic and Equipped Powerlifting Championships, live in Sun City, South Africa, and brought to you by none other than Aleco and SPD. And we've got the Sub-Junior 74 kilos class this morning. We'll have two flights of 10 people each and 10-minute breaks in between. I'm Gary Williams. I am joined by none other, straight from the Briar Patch in New Zealand. Brer Rabbit joins us on commentary this morning, bringing her New Zealand perspective all the way from the well, we are in the southern hemisphere. I'm so used to being in the northern hemisphere. We're already in the southern hemisphere, and this lovely cold morning in South Africa. Honestly, didn't think I'd ever be wearing a hat and a scarf in South Africa, but there I was the other night wearing a hat and a scarf.
Yeah, it's an honour to be commentating with you this morning, Gary. It will be an interesting session. We obviously finished the equipped a couple of days ago, and we are moving through the sub-junior classic weight classes now.
Yeah, sub-juniors are always exciting, and you just don't know what to expect from them. They don't have, I mean, a lot of the guys and women here are debuting their first world championships. Some of them haven't got a huge amount of competition experience under their belt either. So, you know, basically nearly everything they do today is often a personal best. So we'll get the ball rolling with Ethan Godhart from South Africa opening his squat at 145.
Yeah, we have openers in the squats today ranging from 145 here in the B flight right up to 240 kilos up in the A flight, Gary.
They are some massive squats. World record at the moment in the sub-junior is 295.5 kilos. That is ridiculous. I don't think I was anywhere near those sorts of weights when I was a sub-junior. And that is a great looking opening squat. 3 whites. And of course, Brer, you were refereeing yesterday as well.
I was indeed. I was side ref for the women yesterday afternoon. It was quite nice. It was only one flight. It moved quickly.
So we've got the inside scoop with the referee sitting in the commentary's box today. So the advantage of that is anything that I'm not sure of, you can explain.
Fabulous. And no pressure.
None whatsoever. Laurie Lindberg now, Finland, 175. So just looking at the opening lifts, see quite a few have dropped their openers a few kilos as well, which is a smart move, especially if you've travelled a long way.
Three white lights, it's a good lift for the young Finnish lifter. Yeah, I mean, dropping openers, obviously you come in with a plan, but you need to adjust to the day, how you're feeling, how things are moving when you're warming up.
Yeah, you've got to be flexible, you've got to be adaptable as an athlete. I mean, nothing works the same way as it did in training. You travel across the world and everything's a little bit different. Timmy Chow from Canada now, 180. I remember showing up to a national competition several years ago, and I think I dropped about 3 kilos somehow during the 2 weeks prior to it. Put my bench shirt on, it went on like a t-shirt. Said, right, we're going to have to adjust the openers. That's not going to work. Great to see these guys getting down really deep in these squats early on, not giving the referees any reason to have a good look and overthink it.
Yeah, absolutely, and would hope that they would be sinking their first squats comfortably to depth, because we don't want to shake the apple cart, upset the apple cart this early on in the day.
Yeah, it's too early to upset an apple cart, really. Australia, Nelson So, 185.
Yeah, 3 white lights there for the young Aussie. A good opening attempt.
Your spaces, get ready. The bars loaded.
We now have Ryan Samuel coming out from Ireland, 185 kilos on the bar, and I believe he is our first Irish lifter that we've seen here at these championships. Ireland didn't send an equipped team.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right. I don't think we have seen anyone from Ireland. 185 on the bar, though. Oh, look, from this angle, that looked really deep.
Yeah, that was a nice deep squat. As a side referee, I couldn't ask for anything more. And he did get 3 white lights, a great opening attempt.
South Africa's Pierce Mason. Please IQ, get ready. The bar is loaded for Pierce Mason.
Piers Mason, South Africa, 192.5. There's something special about lifting on home soil, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. It does mean that he has the advantage of probably a bigger support crew than most of the other athletes travelling from a variety of places around the globe.
Yeah, you got your support crew. You haven't had to travel, enormous distances. You haven't had 2 days of travel time. You haven't had to adjust to food changes and weather changes. But it does add an element of pressure as well, though, I think, too. I mean, you sort of have that expectation to perform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Canada, powder is China and Great Britain. This one is Lead IQ Canada at 202.5.
Beats IQ from Canada, 202.5.
The bars loaded for Q, 202.5. Stefan, get ready.
Both our Canadian athletes so far sporting the long-legged SBD singlet, which of course has become IPF approved in recent years, and it just gives lifters more options and more comfort, and also it probably makes getting knee sleeves on a little bit easier,
It
Gary.
probably does. And in this weather, it's probably a little bit warmer as well, I think.
Another nice deep opener, 3 white lights, a good lift for the Canadian.
210 for Nauru, Maria Stefan. Luis Lopez, get ready. The bar is loaded.
Jutta Steven, 210. We are flying through this first round of squats as well.
Yeah, absolutely. These 74s are moving quicker, but I think everything looks quick after you've watched equipped lifting for a few days.
Now, there's no need for that.
I'm just stating truth.
Oh, 2-1, good lift.
Yeah, with the wide-legged stance, you do run the risk of looking high, particularly from that front angle. From where we were sitting though, Gary, it did look okay, so it'll be interesting to see what the replay shows.
Yeah, I think on the replay it looks okay. And yeah, as you said, I mean, the wide stance can be a good position to create power. It does make it more challenging to actually really get down to depth. You can't really open the hips up properly.
Yeah, exactly. Especially as you get older, but these kids don't have to worry about that just yet.
That's more of my concern. Carlos Rios Lopez, 212. Well, from the angle I'm looking at, that looked really, really deep.
3 white lights.
And he gets the 3 white lights.
Same weight for Maverick Bridges, Great Britain.
He does. We are looking pretty good so far for openers with the young 74s, but also we wouldn't want anything different.
Yeah, I think this is the sort of part of your career where you drill in the technique and you form those good habits of squatting to depth every time in training, in competition. Doesn't matter what you're doing, how heavy it is, how light it is, you squat to depth. Maverick Riches from Great Britain, 212.5.
he is coming in quite fired up for a first squat. It'll be interesting to see where he goes with that aggression, considering he still has 8 lifts left, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that a lot in powerlifting, 3-lift competitions. You've got to really time and manage that hype and aggression. 3 white lights, but you know, it draws energy. It takes a lot of energy to maintain that. And if you bring that on too early, then by the time you get down to your deadlifts, you've run out of all that sort of extra oomph and extra energy.
Yeah, hopefully he does manage it, because we would hate to see him gas out earlier in the day.
So Ethan Goddard now. We're into round 2 already, are we?
The bar is ready for
Time
demo.
flies by when you're having fun.
$162.5 kilos. He had a great opening squat. Always the toughest squat of the day, I think, being the first person out in the first flight in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially on home soil, but that's a 17.5 kilo jump. Garrett, never mind, I stand corrected.
Yeah, look, 17.5 kilos, 20 kilos. What's a few kilos between friends?
No, exactly.
That was a huge jump and just made it look like nothing.
I'm not sure he has another 17.5 in there, but
I mean, there's definitely another 10 there, though.
yeah.
You know, and a lot of athletes sort of tend to train for those bigger jumps and prepare for those bigger jumps. Timmy Chow,
The bar
Canada,
is ready for
190.
Chow. 190 is the jumping size.
It's always interesting to see how all the different athletes have their own way of approaching the bar.
Yeah, and it's nice to see sub-juniors with a really controlled setup, because I've noticed a few in the last day or so, the setup changes every
3
lift,
white lights
which
favored
can't be
for
good for the
Chow.
lift.
No, you
Same
need to
weight
be
for Larry
practicing that as
Lindbergh.
well. That should be part of your training
Samuel,
mechanism.
get ready.
Make it the same every time.
Yeah, find something that
The
works
bar
and
is still
stick with
hidden at
it.
15 kilos is the
Lindbergh
jumping
now
size.
from Finland, 190 kilos. It's another good sized jump, 15 kilos.
Yeah, absolutely. I do wonder if some of the 74s who had dropped their opener, it was maybe just a confidence thing, see how they feel under the bar on the platform. I mean, there's lights, there's people watching, there's cameras. It's a completely different environment to usual.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you might have done 10, 20,
3 white
50
lights
comps
for good lift.
locally and nationally, but
5 more
working out of that
kilos of
world stage is
IPF
a
strap in.
completely different thing.
Closing
You've got
time.
international level referees, you've got lights, you've got cameras, you've got commentators sitting here. It is a completely different feeling when you walk out there.
Yeah, that was a good lift for the Finnish lifter. He did
The
slow
bar is
down
still
quite a
hidden.
bit though. I'm not sure there is another 15 kilos there. I'd probably opt for something more conservative so he doesn't leave kilos on the platform.
Ryan Samuel now from Ireland, 195.
I think the Irish SBD singlet is one of my favourites.
Yeah, I think we all have a favourite SBD single and a favourite colour shirt as well.
Mm.
Well, I'd say that was almost too deep on that one. He
The
got
white
down
lights for good
very
lift.
low into that squat, which was great.
5 more for Nelson Solo
But
straight
you can
and
see it's a long way to bring it
Jensen,
back
get
up.
ready.
Yeah, absolutely. If I were him or his coach, I would probably consider cutting depth a smidge on his third, because he
The
might
bar
run
is
out
loaded
of
for
gas
Nelson
getting
Solis.
out of the hole as the weights get heavier.
Yeah, you can see in the replay
Nelson
there, he uses the
Solo
stretch
is
reflex well,
open.
but that runs out pretty quickly. So he's probably going to have to maybe make a slight adjustment for the last one. Nelson So from Australia, 197.5. Referees
Double
call
referee
not
check.
deep enough on that one, and you can see it. You'll see it in the replay. Just cuts it a little bit
2000 United
shy.
Nations South Africa number 12.5.
I think that was more of
Line
a.
2, get ready.
I think that was more of a conscious decision. It might be a weight that he's not overly familiar with,
The bar is
and I wouldn't be
loaded.
surprised if they put the same weight on and he just absolutely smokes it on the next one.
Yeah, just feeling confident under the bar, and that's a completely understandable reaction to cut depth when you're a little bit nervous under a weight because you don't want to get pinned under it. I mean, our spotters and loaders have been doing a fantastic job, and they wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about competition experience. You learn at World Championships that you can have absolute trust in your spotters and loaders, that no matter what happens, you're safe and it's going to be okay. And that encourages you to be confident enough to drop down a little bit deeper. And the cutting it short is counterintuitive as well. I mean, it's harder to cut it short than it is to go to depth and bounce back up. Piers Mason now, South Africa, making it hard work there. Gets the job done though. Hasn't got a lot of room to move on a third lift, but gets that one on the board.
Yeah, 2.5, 5 kilos. I wouldn't go any higher than that. He does slow down, almost stop completely, but he doesn't dip, and he manages to get his 3 white lights.
Yeah, I'd be looking at 2.5 for the next one. You know, another 5 kilos is quite possible, but it's a higher risk, and lower risk is 2.5, and you can put that on the board and add it to your total. Lee Tai Q, Canada, 215.
Yeah, I think the 2.5 addition to attempts is something that needs to be utilized more. There's no shame in
Yeah, no,
only
I
jumping.
completely agree with you. I mean, quite often we see people jump that 5 or 7.5 kilos, taking that much bigger risk, and I see their point. So that's a good lift there from Lee Tai, and I see their point that they're chasing that total, but a 2.5 kilo jump is a higher probability of guarantee adding to your total. Jump the 5 and you risk adding nothing,
Exactly.
and I'd rather add 2.5 kilos than nothing. Jutta Steven, 220. That's a big numbers.
Yeah, and a big travel from Nauru. I don't even know how you'd get from Nauru to South Africa, Gary.
I imagine it's a long trip. Imagine probably Nauru to Australia, Australia to somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Iota did struggle. Well, he didn't struggle, but the front referee called him for depth just because of his super wide stance. It'll be interesting to see how he goes with this one.
See, that looked better from the front,
Yeah.
and it is 3 whites.
A good lift.
But it is a tough position to get down to depth in.
Travis Richards, get ready.
I've worked with a couple of athletes in the past that junior athletes and sub-junior athletes that
The
were
bar
just
is loaded
starting
for
out in
rotation.
powerlifting, and they just struggled to be able to really squat properly with a narrow stance. And the only way they could really squat was a wide stance, but it took a lot of work with them to really get into that depth position with that wide stance. Carlos Arias Lopez, 222.5 kilos. Gets down deep in that
Three
one.
white lights, a good
Yeah,
lift
exactly.
for
He's
South Africa.
possibly another athlete that could do with
South Africa's
stopping a
Canada
little bit
47
higher
seconds.
because you
Travis
do want to
Richards,
utilize the power. And
225.
if you are having a
Stephen
longer
Barber,
range
get
of
ready.
motion and sinking right deep into that hole, the drive back up is going to be significantly harder.
Yeah, it's a long way to bring it out of the hole.
The bar is loaded for Richards,
Maverick
225.
Richards, Great Britain, 225. His spotting crew is super fast today. There's not a whole lot of turnaround time for these guys.
No, the openers and second attempts in this flight of 74s are all much of a muchness, and it looks to be the same going into the A flight as well. Um, I hope the spotters and loaders are getting paid adequately and well fed, Gary, because they are lifting every single
The
kilo on the
following
platform.
witness for Nelson So on
So he
deck.
gets a good lift in there, but it was a
Each
tough one. You can
side,
see his knees really drop in.
70 kilo changes for Group A. Starting off with Ethan Gothard, South Africa, 170.
Ethan Gothard, South
Now
Africa,
weighing
170. There's our current standings
130.
after round one, after round two, sorry. Although we've got an A flight coming up as well, so we're not going to know anything about placings for the squat and later on overall placings until we get into the A flight.
Yeah, something drastic would have to happen in the A flight for these B flight gentlemen to get a look in for the squat medal, but never say never, I guess.
Yeah, and I have been privileged enough to see several times over the years of World Championships someone from a B flight taking an overall medal. Yeah, that jump to 170 from 162.5 was just a bit too much.
2.5.
Yeah, especially with the
South Africa, 195 and
huge jump,
175
17 and a
kilos.
half jump he took
So
before
Linder,
7.5 on top. I mean, probably would have cut both the jumps down, but I'm not the Team South Africa coach, so I can make all the calls I want from the commentary
last
box.
loaded.
Timmy Chow, Canada, 195 kilos. He's done a nice little progression there. 10 kilos from his first to his second, 5 from his second to his third.
And nice round numbers as well. No 2.5s, just 10s and 5s.
Much easier for us to add up.
Yeah, my maths isn't that good.
Especially, my gym maths is terrible. As soon as I start lifting, I can no longer add up. That was a tough lift. He played that really, really well with his numbers. Any more, I think, would have stopped him in his tracks.
Yeah, that was spot on from Team
Weighing
Canada. I don't think he had a single extra kilo left in him. I mean, a 5 kilo jump was decent after a second. They did the right thing. He's got 3 good squats on the board.
Yeah, he's added 15 kilos to his overall predicted total. For Nelson So now, Australia, 197.5 to take this again. Just cut a little bit shy in the second attempt. I think his confidence will be there now. I'm going to let the referees call that one. It's a good lift, gets it on the board.
Yeah, that looked way better even from where we were sitting. He was just confident. I did notice on his second attempt that his walkout was a little bit shaky, but that is have been.
Yeah, I think it's also a really important part of the lift. When you get under that bar, you need to take command of it, take it with confidence, and take ownership, and that really puts you in the right mindset for the lift as well. If you get under that bar you're sort of a bit lazy lifting it off, and it feels heavy, and you put yourself in the wrong psychological mindset. Laurie Lindberg now, Finland, 200 kilos. And that was pretty much stapled to the bottom on that one.
Yeah, someone turned the gravity up for his squat. He did get pinned under that. It was a 10 kilo jump up from his second,
Yeah,
though.
second and third, that's a decent jump. He just looked like, it really looked like he mistimed it out of the bottom. Like he almost hesitated a little bit, thought he was at depth, went to lift, then realised maybe I'm not.
Yeah, that's a good thing our spotters and loaders were there, but it did seem just a smidge too heavy.
Ryan Samuel, Ireland, 202.5. And 3 white lights gets that one on the board.
Yeah, I think that was spot on from Team Ireland as well in terms of attempt selection. It looked like a third should, a bit of work, but there was also no question.
Yeah, I think that was well played there.
The bar is
Piers Mason,
raised
South
in
Africa,
some categories from
207.5.
227.5.
I think they've made the right call here. They just added the 2.5 kilos from the 205. The 205 was tough. There was a hard lift on his second. I think the 2.5 kilo increase from second to third is a very, very wise and mature choice.
Wise and mature is sometimes something we don't see with sub-juniors, but I think the South African coaching team are very experienced and will do the absolute best thing for the lifters, even if the lifters themselves don't realise it at the time.
Yeah, sometimes it's a pleasant discussion. Sometimes it's a rather heated discussion. Yeah, he's got it there.
Another squat grinder.
Gets it to the top. Perfect choice there. Any more than that
122.5.
might have stopped him in his tracks. I think they made the safe choice there to add those extra
Ladies
kilos
second, and now
to the total rather than leave them
122.5.
behind.
Yeah, absolutely. He looked a little bit surprised actually as he walked off looking at his coach like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I got that. But hey, 3 good squats are on the
The bar's
board.
loaded.
Yurtha Stephen, 222.5 from Nauru. That was slow at the bottom, wasn't it? Looked like he was searching for depth there.
Yeah, I was a little bit afraid of depth, and he got 2 reds from the centre and from the far side referee, which is what you're going to see on the replay. I
122.5.
didn't want to say anything in case I
The
jinxed
bar
it,
is
but it
reloaded,
did look
and
high
this
from
is
where
for
we were
men's
sitting too,
category.
Gary.
No more changes for the
Yeah,
eighth.
just needs to get down a little bit forward. But he's got a couple of good squats on the board. Lee Tai Q, Canada, 222.5. I think the Commonwealths are coming up in September in Canada, I think.
Yeah, they're not too far away, only a couple of weeks, I think.
To join
2-1, good
is the
lift.
Lee Tai Q.
Yeah, it was 2-1, but it was also
122
very smooth and
squats and
fast for a
lifting.
third, especially
Weight division
considering some of the
227.5 to
grinds we
1
have
minute
seen
50
so
squat and
far.
lifting. The bar is loaded for Espana 227.5.
Carlos Maria Rios Lopez, 227.5. Oh, just drops in there, doesn't he?
So
Just drops it down.
it's a really lit.
That was a really good third
After
squat
squat
there.
is moved safely
It
to the second
was,
brace is
again, no
vibration. The
question with
bar is
depth
loaded.
from the young Spaniard, which is great to
Esta
see.
energía aún
I
queda
do
de
think
más.
as well with some of the cuts of the A7 singlets and the colour panels down the side, it is easier to see depth than if they had a completely like black
Okay,
side panel.
interesting from a referee's perspective,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. It is something that you do notice. If you notice, like with the GB singlets and some of the other ones, they've got an entirely like black or dark blue bottom half, and then if you sorry, if
Yep.
you notice Maverick, it ends up making his hip crease look quite high because that's where the colour stops.
That's an interesting way to look at it, actually. I hadn't actually thought from a referee's perspective the colour of suits, it makes a difference. He gets that one in.
Dollars and 10 cents.
Yeah, it is. It is just something I've picked up over the last few years of refereeing, and that was the last squat of our B flight.
Yeah, moving into flight A now.
The bar is loaded.
So
Team
now,
11 is ready.
when we get through the first couple of rounds, I mean, you can see the results from Group B on the screen there. We'll get to the end of the third round of Group A, and then we'll start being able to see some of the actual placings. Right now, Alejandro, she from China, 217 and a half.
So this A flight are the 74 kilo sub juniors that had the higher nominated totals out of the whole group.
That was a super fast squat. I turned away for a second to look at the board and turned back, and he was finished. 2-1, good lift.
Yeah, he did get red on this side for depth, but this is not the side that you're going to see on the replay, so it'll be interesting to see. I think it looks pretty
Yeah,
safe
it looks
to me.
okay. And referees have got a split second to make a decision on depth. So, and that's why we have 3 referees, and that's why we have a jury.
Exactly, and also people aren't entirely symmetrical, and sometimes one side
That's right.
will look higher than another.
Isaac Welling, New Zealand, 217 and a half.
Yeah, our first Kiwi athlete of this championships, and I believe Isaac's first international. He is coached by Akima Mabidikama, who represented New Zealand at Open Worlds in Lithuania earlier this year.
Great opener.
Yeah, really tidy there from Isaac, but I would also not expect anything less from Team New Zealand, and I'm not even biased in the slightest, Gary.
Surely not. I could not detect any bias in your voice at all there.
No, I am completely objective.
Ben Drum, 220 kilos. You know, you sound it. I can tell.
One of 2 USA lifters in this flight, perhaps a little bit of friendly fire between them. They are not streaks ahead of each other in terms of nomination, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it was fast. Was he deep enough? No, he was not. 2-1, no lift.
No, and he looks a little bit confused there, but unfortunately, I think I can see where the referees were coming from. The red light did come from the side that we're sitting on, not the side on the replay, so it might err in his favour with the jury.
Let's see what the jury has to say. Can't see anyone pressing any buttons and having a talk about it.
No, and they did send the coach away, so perhaps that is unfortunate for his opening squat.
Yeah, no joy by the look of it. Jax Phelps, Australia, 225. Well, he's certainly got plenty of experience in his corner there. Adam Michael Jones, who has represented Australia and Singapore at World Championship Open competitions.
That is a huge walkout. He almost stepped off back the platform.
Let's see what the referees say about that. They say it's a good lift. Now, we talk about B flights and A flights, and incidentally, I could be wrong, but I do recall Adam, his coach here in Sweden, many years ago, picking up a medal from the B flight.
I cannot confirm that because
It's a long time ago. You might not have been born.
I'm not that young, but thanks, Gary.
I'm that old. Daniel Pan Arenas from Sweden, 230 kilos. fast.
It's
2-1.
Final
Centre
Analysis.
referee just
Skating from
saying it's a little
Mexico,
bit high.
representing Zane Miller, get ready.
Yeah, it's quite hard to referee depth from the centre, particularly as we move up the weight classes and the athletes have bigger legs. You can't quite see the hip crease, but
Jury's overruled the
Jury
previous
has
lift
overruled on that
for
one.
Arenas. Farled in for Graham Steels.
Good call from the centre referee there.
yeah, absolutely. And our first overrule of the session.
Yeah, look, and that's not to take away the capacity of any of the referees out there. Like I said, you've got a split second to make a decision. If you're in doubt or you're not 100% sure, often we go give the benefit of the doubt to the athlete, and that's precisely why we have a jury as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to call it how you see it.
Yep.
It's not always the same on the live stream as it is in real life. I know from experience that what I see in the referee's chair is not what I see on the live stream
That's
when I watch
right.
it back.
And Graham Steele there just getting called high as well.
Now it's Zane Miller, Great Britain, 235.
Not good odds there from Team USA. Both coming in with high squats on their opener. I'm hoping it's a confidence thing, and I'm hoping they can sort it out in their second and their thirds.
Zane Miller, Great Britain, 235.
Being handled by Thomas Morgan, the head coach for Team GB sub-juniors and juniors. He has represented Wales at the Commonwealth Games.
Oh,
Commonwealth,
fantastic.
not Commonwealth
The
Games,
Commonwealth.
Commonwealth Powerlifting Championships.
We made short work of that one, didn't he? 2-1. He's got a blue card there.
Yeah, the blue light in squat can be for either double movement or lockout at the top in terms of standing up straight with your knees locked out.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest that was probably for lockout.
Yeah, the bar didn't dip, so we'll have to see what the jury say about that. It appears they say nothing about that.
Kalian Paniotov, 235.
That is a singlet I have never seen before, Gary.
Bulgaria. The frightening thing is I can read that.
I can't read Bulgarian. What does it say?
This is Bulgaria. 2-1, no lift, unfortunately. Not deep enough. We'll see in the replay here.
That is the side he got the white light
Yeah,
from.
on that side I can see why it's a white light. So we're not really going to pick up much of that from the replay.
No. But again, from the side that we saw it from, it did look high. It can go either way. I mean, the jury gets to see the squat in real life. They also get to see the replay.
And they've got two angles on the replay as well in slow motion. So it's a different jury than it was 10 years ago. Artyom Bakryak from Ukraine now, 250.
Jury's overruled the previous lift and good lift for Panayotov.
We had a lot of depth calls in this first round of A-flight squats.
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning, but hopefully they can rein it back by their second and third. That was a very unconventionally leveraged squat.
Yeah, it was a little bit unusual for what we're used to seeing. Look in the replay here. Well, he's really rolled his elbows into a backward position there, rolled his wrist forwards, which is interesting.
Maybe an effort to keep the bar on his back. He had a relatively low bar position.
Yeah, it could have been that he felt it shifting a little bit. Yorgos Machitis.
I believe this is also our first Greek athlete.
I think it is. And high on both side referees there. Coach is taking a walk to the jury. I don't think he's going to get a lot of joy there. We'll see the replay here. I mean, it looked a little high. He's probably not going to get a lot of joy from the jury.
No, there doesn't seem to be much
The
unanimous
bicycle
discussion there.
field ready.
No.
However, we don't have a crystal ball. We cannot see what is going to happen. This is a little bit concerning, Gary, with so many lifters failing their squats on depth this early on, particularly because they're the highest nominated totals.
Yeah, and it's so important in training. If you're new to this sport, you're coming to this sport, it's so important to train with people that are going to tell you straight. Absolute honesty. I mean, if your squat's too high, your squat's too high, and someone should be telling you that, and you should be ensuring that you are squatting to depth on every single squat you do in training, and get into that habit. I've had many athletes that I've started working with early in their careers, or even mid-careers through, and when they've started working with me, I've told them their squat's too high. Their response is, "I'll get it right on the day." Well, you probably won't get it right on the day. If you're not squatting to depth every single time, the chance of scoring to depth at a competition, that's pretty low.
Brown steel USA
Yeah, that was a good lift
30
there from
kilos.
our Chinese athlete
Physical
Shah
condition
with
make it
230
equivalent.
kilograms, a sizable 12.5 kilo jump up, and one of our
Last loaded.
only athletes to get his opener on the board there in the A flight.
Right now, Graham Steele, with a name that was born for powerlifting, is looking to put 230 on the board, having missed this one in the opener on depth as well. So the pressure begins to mount now. So really needs to sink this one in. From here, it looks like he has.
It did, but it also seemed to affect his upward movement on the squat. It was super shaky, and we are not looking good for our lights at the moment. The referees might need to use the
1, 2,
flags,
and 3.
and we
And
have
it is
3 white
good lift.
flags. He is on the board,
Yeah, it
thankfully.
certainly, and you're right, it certainly did change the way he lifts. So I'm hoping he's training to depth all the time. Ben Tran now, again, US 220.
The bar
Didn't
is
get
lifted.
this. Interestingly, he's gone to 232 and a half for his second lift. Now, if this was equipped, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely great move. Work through the suit a little bit. Being raw, this is a big, big call. You haven't got a lift on the board yet, and you're increasing your weight. In my coaching career, I've done this once with a classic athlete,
Yeah, and 12 and a half
and I
kilos,
haven't done it by that much.
12 and a half kilos is a big jump. Like 5 kilos, maybe. 12 and a half, this is a brave call by Team USA.
Well, let's see if it pays off. He's somehow still going. How he got that back to the top is beyond me, and he gets 3 white lights for it. Well, it was a huge risk and it paid off. I take my hat off to them.
Yeah,
It was a
absolutely.
risk that I wouldn't take.
No, absolutely. But I'm also very aware that there's probably not a whole lot left in the tank after that RPE 10 grind on his second squat.
Isaac Welling from New Zealand now, 232 and a half.
Yeah, Isaac's opening squat was really tidy. I mean, I've refed him a couple of times back home in New Zealand. He is a very technically proficient lifter, which is, it's lovely at sub juniors to see that.
Yeah, we mentioned in the equipped lifting the technical proficiency of the juniors and sub juniors was absolutely outstanding. And that one's just caught him a little bit. His right knee just seemed to drop in a little bit and lost a lot of power out of the bottom there.
Yeah, it's like he tipped back a little bit. The bar just kind of fell back. And he was giving his coach a backwards motion as he went off. Yeah,
Yeah, just shifted backwards a little bit.
that's right. He can come back and get that on his third.
Jax Phelps from Australia, 240 kilos. He's got a great coach in his corner, Adam Michael Jones. If you want to talk about technical proficiency, he is one to look at. Oh, and he just got a little,
The cash score is no less than
just
12.
looked like it shifted forward a little bit there.
Daniel
He got
Panier
good
met
speed out of the
Zidane.
hole,
Zo'n gelooid is die zonder rond
but
jam.
just got a little bit out of line.
Panayoto, get ready.
Yeah, he's hobbling off a little bit, holding his left leg. So I'm hoping it's
Bars
nothing
loaded.
major. Maybe a bit of quad cramp or something.
Yeah, you can see he just got a little bit out of position at the bottom there. Daniel Panranas, Sweden. Now, another interesting decision here. Didn't get 230 on depth. Has gone up to 240 for his second.
Yeah, another jump, but as we learnt earlier, not that long ago, that is sometimes the right call.
Well, it was the right call that time. He got down nice and deep in that one.
Right, he made the adjustment
And
at
honestly, it
240.
didn't look like that much of a challenge for him either.
Daniel Panayoto
No,
goes
it
down
didn't,
at
and it
240
kind
10.
of gave equipped vibes. The extra
Panayoto, get
10
ready.
kilos just pushed him down into that hole, and he was able to shoot back up. No questions asked.
Kalian Paniatov,
The bars loaded.
245. Great to see so many nations growing in this sport as well. I mean, Bulgaria, for example, we don't see a huge contingency from Bulgaria at a lot of competitions. Great to see their sub-junior and junior developing, building on that capacity in the opens.
Yeah, of course, it's great to see the young athletes following in the footsteps of bigger athletes.
His squat is
31 is
very,
for
very
Panayoto.
smooth all the way through.
34
Gets a
seconds.
red light
Resetting for
from the
middle
side
class. Please step
referee,
back line.
but from where we're sitting, it looked okay.
I thought it did too, and we are sitting on the side of the red light. However,
The
the
bars will be
referee is
presenting number
closer. She
5
does have a better
50.
view.
Yep, absolutely. You have a live view right from the side spot there,
That's provisional squad goal for
and we have
2013.
camera angles which make everything look a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. And we also don't have the pressure of making a call right on the spot.
Zane Miller, 250. Boy, he's fast, isn't he?
That looked like a
Provisional
warm-up.
time
He just
2:38.
dive bombs
Ready for
into the
the new
bottom
squad
and
goal.
straight out again.
Counting for the
Yeah,
squad.
Zane is currently
Final
projected
retake. That
third
goal has
in
been
this class, but
255.
if the rest of his lifts are moving as well as his
1 minute for one
squats,
retake
I
is
would
over.
say watch out Bulgaria and watch out
The bars
China.
loaded and Paklaya gets ready.
Georgas Pachitas, 255. Missed on his opener, not deep enough. Sticking with 255.
Yeah, one of the only athletes who have missed to not go up, but all of the other athletes who missed on depth are on the board.
And I'm not going to suggest from an athlete or coaching perspective you take that train of thought, and if you miss it, add more weight in a classic. But in these cases, it worked for them.
3 white lights touch the
Georgas
finish.
gets the
It's on the
depth and
board
gets it on the
in
board.
first position.
Yeah, he obviously did what was needed
Couple
to
seconds
get that
left.
numbers on
Daniel
there.
Paklaya, two
I
minutes,
still
52
wouldn't have said
seconds and
I
5.
would
This
squat
was our
any
industry
higher than that.
silver.
He's probably right on the line
Right on the
between
edge.
a red light and a white
The
light.
bars loaded. Aisha Suwale gets ready.
Artyom Bakryak, Ukraine, 257 and a half.
A sensible jump compared to some of the other things we've
Yep,
seen this
seven and a
morning.
half kilos. It's a normal sort of size jump for this weight class.
Yeah, he did have quite an ungainly squat technique in his first. I wonder if that's just how he squats or if something went wrong. No, that is just how he squats.
That is just how he squats, apparently. He just sort of gives that bar a little bit of a
First
twist,
for Bakalaya,
which is
8.5.
interesting because, I
The
mean, obviously I've said in the
provisional
past, there is no
in gold,
exactly
Senior
right
and
or wrong
silver,
way to squat. I mean, you've got to
Paralympic
build your squat and
The
build your
first and second
technique for
rounders
that
of the
person, and that
competition
person's
before Isaac
biomechanics are all a
Welling
little
from
bit
New
different.
Zealand.
Traditionally, I
The second,
coach
bar
to
slope
shift
for
the
sir,
elbows in the opposite direction to pull
235
them forward and up.
kilos.
But if it works for him,
We'll get
that's
back.
the main thing. We move into round 3, and now we will start to see our placings. Isaac Welling, 232.5, missed on his second.
Yeah, he just lost the weight back a little bit, so I'm hoping he's managed to regain that. As I said earlier, he's usually a pretty technically proficient lifter.
And just not happening today, unfortunately.
No, but the thing is as well, Gary, that the young lifters need to remember is there are so many variables coming into play today, particularly with people who have travelled a long way. The food's different, the temperature's different.
Yeah, look, every time you step on the stage at a world championship is experience. Whether you get all 3 lifts in or just 1 lift in, you learn something, you walk away from it, and you come back better and you come back stronger.
Yeah.
Graham Steele now, the US, 235 kilos. Yeah, that's something you just mentioned to me. It's something I often forget being one of the in the heavyweight weight classes. I don't have to cut in for weight. I don't have to make sure I make weight. I can eat whatever I want the day before, the night before. Doesn't matter. Have a huge breakfast. Some of these guys have got to drop a kilo or 2 before competition. So Graham Steele there with 3
Second
whites.
all-estimate bedtime.
Yeah, and he seems pretty happy
The first
there. I
jog is
think
ready.
maybe his miss on depth on the first was a confidence thing.
The bar is loaded.
Ben Tran, the US 235 as well, who made the crazy leap from 220 to 232.5 from his first to his second after missing his first. Proved us all wrong. And now taking the conservative jump to 235.
I was quite happy to be proven wrong
Yeah,
in
I
that
am
instance.
always happy to be proven wrong to see the success of an athlete.
Apparently was the second bedtime might be coming. We'll let the clock
I
run.
believe he is timing
The
out
very
this lift,
next
which is probably a really wise decision, and it's a decision you'd make as a coach as opposed to scratching the lift just to give all the other lifters that minute extra to uh, cool
Yeah, look,
down.
especially when we're in a flight of 10 people, and it's a flight that are moving really fast as well with the spotting crew. You scratch that, and suddenly, suddenly the guy that was prepared to have, 11, 12 minutes rest is suddenly up in 8 minutes or 9 minutes. So it's a sportsmanship thing to do. His 232.5 was tough.
It was.
Yeah, and you said it. You said it when he did it. There's not much left in there at all, and I think that's the right call. Let him rest a bit longer. Get him ready for bench press. So Alejandro G from China now,
The bar is
240
loaded for
kilos.
from China, 240 kilos. Fifth position in the squat event.
Oh, that looked deep from this angle.
Yeah, and he also
Oui, donc on a dit qu'il y a un
lost a
nouveau
bit of
lift
the
de
bar path. He
compétition.
kind of spun as well, but nothing stopped and nothing
C'est
looked
possible
like
that
it was
classe
gonna
is
go
ready.
wrong. He
Le top
just
7.
managed to pull it
He
out of the
was
bag.
clearly very happy with it as well.
The bar is loaded.
Australia now, Jax Phelps, 240 kilos. Didn't get deep enough on this one and got a little bit out of position.
Yeah, he lost it forward a bit. I'm hoping he manages to kind of control it a little bit better, but also I'm hoping his nerves aren't shaken from what happened in his second attempt. I know that that can happen quite easily.
Yeah, I think if he gets under this bar here with confidence and takes real ownership, his walkout looked a little more controlled on this one. He's getting down deep enough, but
No
he's just
takeouts.
shifting forward. I think his hips are popping up a little bit too fast.
Entering the squat total contenders with
Yeah,
the powerlifting
he
competitor in
noticed that
250
quite
kg class.
quickly that it wasn't going to come up. It was the shake of the head, and I feel like that's quite a mature thing to do, to just let the spotters bring you back up and not try
The
and
bar is
push through
Yeah,
it.
loaded.
look, I mean,
Dual squat bar.
you've got to make a decision, and usually that's a maturity thing, what happens later on. But to make that decision there, you've got a choice. You can try and grind it out, and in that case, it was maybe a 20% probability of getting the lift, and you're going to use an enormous amount of energy trying to grind that out for no gain. So make the decision, wave it off, let the spotters bring you to the top, save your energy. You've got bench and deadlift to go yet.
No, exactly. And I'm just looking at the weights these gentlemen weighed in at. I am seeing a lot of really tight weights, including Jack's. He was 73.95. I'm assuming he had some sort of cut to do, which could
Yeah.
affect
Loading the
his
power bar
strength
to
there.
stage.
And Kelly on there, just not able to get the 250
Daniel
moving,
Patrick closing
unfortunately.
to
We
2.5
talk about
seconds,
close
just a
weigh-ins.
second from the jump up squat
Nelson
bar.
So from Australia weighed
Moving
in
from squat
on the
to
dot
bar.
at 74. Pierce Mason
The bar
on
is
the dot,
loaded and
74.
ready.
Archie Black on the dot, 74.
I mean, that is
I
leaving
reckon that's a
nothing out
stressful
there.
moment for the coach at weigh-in. Daniel Pan Arenas, Sweden, 252 and a half. And looks good. It is.
Moving
Three
on to
whites.
deadlift the power bar, starting with
And
weight
now we
class
start the
217.
push for a placing here.
Again returns the
So
medal of
Artyom
individual
Bakriak from
basketball.
Ukraine
Ryan Baptidis
missed
with bronze
257 and a
medal
half
in
on his
women's.
second, going to take
And
for
his
a
version
second
of
run. And
257.5
this will be
against
enough to take him from
41st
fourth
squat
into
ranked.
this gold medal position temporarily for the squat.
The bar is loaded. He's missed this in the second
I,
run.
Yeah,
I
this
think it
is
will
Taking the
guarantee him a
individual
silver,
squat
won't it? I think.
gold.
Yep. No, oh no, it would be a guaranteed third
It'll be
at
a guaranteed
least.
bronze, but temporarily it'll put him up into
In that gold medal
gold.
position with Miller and Pachitis to follow.
Loading
And
the
unfortunately,
backrest.
just a bit too much for him today. A good
Stefan
effort.
Arenas gains
Yeah,
the
I'm
squat medal.
wondering
The
if
gold medal
him and
contender
his
in
coach need to have
Vladimir
a chat about
Baptidis going for
the
260 and
technique. I'm
262
not
for
sure it
bronze.
is the most efficient technique
The bar is
for his
loaded with Miller,
leverages.
260 kilos for the
So
bronze
Zane Miller now,
medal.
Great Britain 260, wants to have a crack at that gold medal position in the squats. He is currently in the bronze medal
Entering the dual
position.
squat
That is
total
guaranteed.
2.5 gold with a
It's in his
jump of
pocket,
10.
locked away.
Yeah, and looking at the projected totals, he is heading for first overall.
Closing
So he needs
for
to
the
keep the
title of
standard
world
of lifting
champion.
really high. Make there's actually no room for missed attempts in this
No, he's
top
got to
three
make
battle.
really, really smart decisions with his lift choices. A missed lift could cost him. And he moved that one
Entering
almost as
second
quickly as
round of
all the others.
31 whites in
And he
deadlift.
puts himself
His
up into the gold
individual
medal
squat
position
gold.
for the moment.
Jordan
Fatitas now
Baptidis being able to
looking for
surpass the weight
262 and a
limits with
half. He
1
wants the
final
gold medal
squat
in
in
squats.
74s.
Yeah, he
The bar is
has
loaded. Jump
guaranteed
rest 1.5
silver
for the
regardless.
three.
Um, looking to just knock Miller off with 2.5 kilos.
Forecasted fourth in the
Well,
weight class.
he has been a little
Gary's
bit
weight class, only 2.5
all over the shop.
loaded.
Yeah,
His squats didn't look that clean, but we'll see how he goes.
yeah, the depth just wasn't there on his first one, and his second, I would say, was only marginally better, but that's my referee voice speaking.
And a big effort. He takes the silver medal. It was a high risk, high reward, and that's a tough decision. He was guaranteed a silver. Would he have been better off having a smaller jump and adding to his overall total rather than chasing after the gold squat medal?
Yeah, he is quite a few kilos behind the nominated projected podium, but I mean, anything can happen,
That's
and
right.
more kilos can't hurt.
And there are our final results for the squat. Zane Miller from Great Britain with a massive 260 kilos for the gold medal. Georgas Pachitas with 255 in the silver, and Daniel Pan-Arenas from Sweden with 252.5. Don't go too far away. We are going to be back here in 10 minutes time, and these guys are going to battle it out on the bench press. Welcome back to the 2026 IPF World Sub-Junior and Junior Classic and Equipped Powerlifting Championships, live from the beautiful Sun City, South Africa, and brought to you by none other than Aleco and SPD, the makers of the greatest strength equipment and strength apparel on the planet. And we are just about to get into the bench press for the 74 kilo Sub-Junior. You can see the projected totals on the board there, and they're opening attempts listed. Of course, we've got the V flight followed by the A flight, so we're going to get through all the V flight, then we can start talking about placings and things like that as the A flight start to add their numbers to the board. Certainly an interesting session in squats. Lots of missed opening lifts in the opening squats for the A flight.
Yeah, they did manage to come in and sort it out, though. We don't have anyone who has bombed on squats, which is fantastic.
Always a great way to start the day. Ethan Goddard now on bench for South Africa with a 105 opener and 3 white lights. Bench is one of the toughest lifts, I think, the most technical as well, and the easiest to sort of get wrong in regards to sort of weight selection as well. It's such a small muscle group compared to squat and deadlift.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's something that lifters realise as time goes on. These sub-juniors might not have that kind of realisation. You said it was one of the toughest lifts. It is also one of the toughest lifts to referee. There are many, many things you have to look at. I personally do not have enough eyes to watch everything all at the same time. That is why we have 3 referees.
Maverick Riches, 107.5. As you said, yeah, there's so much to look at as a referee. Feet have to be flat on the floor. Butt has to stay in contact with the bench. Shoulders in contact with the bench. Head in contact with the bench. You've got to wait for the start command, the press command, the rack command. Your elbows have to be locked out at the start and finish in the locked out position. There is so much to look at as a referee. And we talk about so much to remember as an athlete, but as a referee, I mean, how do you manage to look at everything during the bench press? There's just too much going on.
There is a lot going on, honestly. Centre reffing, bench, like centre reffing for bench, my brain doesn't know the difference between that and being hunted for sport. It is stressful.
Laurie Lindberg now, Finland, 115 kilos. And of course, with classic bench, I mean, if you make the mistake, we've got an elbow depth call, is it?
Yeah, the red light in bench can be for either not touching the chest, which is more commonly seen in equipped, of course. Red light also for bench depth, which is the bottom surface of the elbows below the midline of the shoulder. I think we're probably okay. It wasn't egregious, and I wouldn't want the jury to be looking super closely. I think like the jury should only be overturning the egregious.
Yeah,
right?
agreed. And it's a tough one. I mean, it's been a big change for a lot of athletes, but you know, it's you know, what are we, a couple of years into that change of rules now, so there's enough time for everyone to have adapted to that. Pierce Mason now, South Africa, 117 and a half. And classic bench is tough. I mean, if you make the mistake of opening too heavy with classic bench, there is nothing you can do about it. Wrist wrap just popped off there.
Yeah, Pierce wrist wrap was obviously not wrapped properly. It popped right off, but he got 3 white lights, so
Not going to let a little thing like that bother him.
no. But he'd also be making sure they're wrapped properly come the next lift.
That'll be a lesson learnt. Ryan Samuel, Ireland, 117 and a half. Yeah, as I was saying, if you open too heavy on classic bench, generally there's nothing you can do about it after that. Three white lights. Gets that one on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Just with the first lifts in bench, we would be expecting the same thing. Nothing too out of the box. We want as good a possible lift. We want to be racking up the kilos, but most importantly, we want to be making a total.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be able to add. I mean, you don't want to be opening too heavy. You want to put an opening lift on, but you can progress from, add a few more kilos to your total here and there. Yota Stephen Nauru, 120 kilos.
Three white lights, a good lift. He had a really wide squat stance. He's also got a really wide bench grip and feet position as well.
He's a very wide foot position. He's going to have to watch his heels though. As he pulls those feet back, they can leave the floor.
Yeah, the rule, of course, is as flat as the shape of the shoe allows, which can be quite hard to ref. But if you see a lifter walking onto the platform and their feet are flat on the floor, then they can have their feet flat on the floor when they bench.
Carlos Maria Rose Lopez, 122 and a half.
One of the other things to watch for as a referee is the lifters. There is a maximum width grip that they can have, 81 centimetres between the rings. The rings need to be covered if your hands are wide. As a centre referee, you don't want to be able to see them. Of course, you can be inside the rings, but that's ridiculous.
Are you doing a close grip bench press?
We had a really close grip bench press yesterday.
I
There was a
have
guy.
seen it many times. And like we say, there's no exact right way of any of these lifts. You've got to do what works for the athlete and find the right biomechanics for them. Elite IQ Canada, 122 and a half.
Yeah, so our openers ranging today in the bench press for the 74 kilos, 105, our lightest opener. And in the A flight, we have a 157.5 opener for bench press, which is huge.
That's big for a 74 at any age group, let alone a sub junior. Elite IQ gets that one on the board, 122 and a half. Remember, we are in the B flight at the moment, so you'll see the placings come up on your screen. At the moment, they are not relevant until we move into the A flight.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you have seen lifters previously come from the B flight, put in a stellar performance and still manage to medal. I don't know if we are going to have anything that's surprising or shocking in the 74 sub-juniors. It might happen later in the championships.
Yep, might happen later. It does happen occasionally though. It's always tough as an athlete to be in the B flight as well, because you don't have those ones ahead of you pushing you to push more. So all you can do in the B flight is sort of, get your best numbers on the board you can and sit back and hope for the best. Timmy Chow, 125. Makes short work of that, but he gets 3 reds. He's got a yellow and a red there. Red for elbow depth, yellow for, I imagine, probably butt lift.
Yeah. I was questioning depth from where we were, Gary, and
Butt lift is
unfortunately we
clear.
do see daylight under there. He is going to have to put his butt on the bench. We have seen a few bombs on butt lift, which is...
It does happen, and we saw this actually a lot in Lithuania many years ago, sort of right at the height of COVID, and when people weren't able to train in gyms and they were training on home equipment and things. And we saw a lot of people bomb on butt lift, and we sort of put that down to training on equipment that wasn't the same height as an Eleiko bench. So consider that when you're training. Consider that your bench you're training on might be of a different height. I mean, I know when I've trained in the past, I've trained in a lot of commercial gyms where I'm from, because we didn't have powerlifting gyms or Eleiko equipment, and I would actually put the bench on blocks to bring it up to the same height as an Eleiko bench, so I was training at the same height all the time. Ethan Godhart from South Africa, 110. We're in the second round already. That was a lightning round.
It was super quick. We do only have one lifter who didn't make their first attempt. Timmy Chow from Canada, just on a number of infractions there, which is unfortunate but not unfixable.
3 white lights for Godhart. Maverick Richards from Great Britain now for 115.
Also, the bench that is on the platform for this championships, Gary, is one of the new Eleiko Sky Pads. Super
Oh, they're
comfortable.
nice, aren't they?
They are. They aren't everywhere though. So I think quite a few of these athletes, they may not have trained on them. They may not have even warmed up on them because I think there's only a few out the back. So I think coaches are battling to the death to make sure they can warm their lifters up on the exact same rack that is on the platform.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of interesting and differentiating opinions around this bench as well. For me, I love it. Especially being a heavyweight, I sink right down into it. I get a really good position in my shoulders.
So we would like to
Three
thank the
whites.
correction. Yes,
And I love that Eleiko redesign their equipment on a regular basis, and quite often that redesign is based on feedback they're getting from athletes, coaches, spotters. They're listening to what people are saying, and you've seen this bench. I mean, essentially it's the same setup, but you've seen so many little design changes over the last decade that have just made it better and better every single time. And sometimes it's simple little things. They change the lever arms for the spotters to shift rack heights. They put different grips on them. You know, just the little things for them.
Yeah, even the adjusting levers for racks being in or out, it's way easier now. It's just one motion instead of trying to battle the rack.
Yeah, and Pierce Mason with a good lift there at 122 and a half.
122.5. The bar is loaded and Timmy Chow is ready.
One of their big changes quite a long time ago now was they actually changed the width of the safety rails, became narrower, and created a lot more space between the plate and the safety rack when you're down at the bottom of the bench.
Well, that's good because you don't want to hit the plate on the safety rack, particularly if you have an uneven descent.
Laurie Lindberg now from Finland, 122 and a half. Just snaps that back to the top, but gets two reds. He's got a red card and a yellow card. Red card for the side referee, interesting, and yellow card for the center referee. So we'll have a look at the replay.
Yeah, yellow from the centre is, I mean, it's as common as any other call, but there's, oh, unfortunately, just missed it there. It could be a number of things. It could be a head lift, it could be feet, it could be he missed the call.
Yeah, it could be a number of infractions. Timmy Chow, Canada, 125, missed this on his opener, and this was due to butt lift was clearly above the bench.
Yeah.
His coach there, I think, is having an identity crisis. I've seen him coaching for a number of out there, supporting a number of different countries now.
He's just a friendly dude, I think.
Well, I didn't see any hip movement at all there, suggesting his butt is down. Gets that one on the board. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, he just needs to repeat that for his third as well. But I mean, he's got a bench on the board now. Our whole B flight is there with their bench presses, which is great. They can start adding numbers to their subtotal, building on personal bests, all of that fun stuff.
Ryan Samuel, 125. And Ryan with a good second lift there. Let's see what the referees say.
Oh, anticipation as the remotes struggle. This has been the case a little bit. There are network issues here. Yesterday when I was refereeing, we did have to get the white and red paddles out. It is
A good lift.
a good lift.
Yeah, go old school, get the red and white paddles out. Always got to have a backup. Technology is fantastic until it's not.
Exactly.
Carlos Maria Ruz Lopez, 127 and a half.
The bar is loaded and Stefan get ready.
Three
Weight
whites,
cut
gets it on the
for
board.
Texas.
Yeah, it looked like a good
87
second
kilos,
should. I mean, it was a
Stephen
bit of effort, but it was a
Nigetin.
completely tidy and technically proficient lift.
Bars loaded.
Jutta Stephen now, 130 kilos.
A 10-kilo
Uh,
jump
I
on.
was just looking at that myself. That's a big jump on bench.
It is, especially at such a light weight and a young age. But hey, who are we to question the coach's decision? She knows him better than we do.
That's true. Oh, it was tough. He gets it on the board, but the problem now is he's burnt a lot of energy on that one lift. Where does he go for his third? Is there anything left in the third? Would the smarter of move have gone, rather than a 10-kilo jump, let's go 7.5 kilo, and then a 5-kilo jump for his third? We'll wait and see what happens. Lee Tai Q, Canada, 130. I think it's great that he's just added 10 kilos to his subtotal. Fantastic. But is that all he gets to add to his subtotal in bench? Gone 7.5, then 5. He adds 12.5 kilos to his subtotal.
Yeah, I'm not sure where Team Nauru will go with that. They have nominated another 10-kilo jump, Gary, for his third. I am not sure he's got that in him.
That's a gutsy move. Lee Tai Q gets a 130 on the board with 3 white lights.
Final attempt of the second round for the West So Australia 140
Melton
and a
So
half.
from Australia, 147.5.
Loaded. The guard get ready.
Didn't have the best of days on squats. Sorry, I got my Australians mixed up there. I think it was Jacks that didn't have the best of days on Phelps, on squats.
And as an Australian yourself, you should be ashamed, Gary.
Ethan Goddard, I'm just going to gloss over that. 112.5 on the bar.
Already into third attempts here for our 74-kilo B-flight lifters. It is looking pretty good. There's lots of green on that scoreboard. I have definitely seen flights looking worse at this stage.
Yeah, it's great to see that we're into round 3. Everyone is on the board. Everyone can start adding a little bit here and there. Ethan Goddard now, 112.5.
Just looking at the score sheet now, there are some really sensible jumps, I think, in terms from second to third. There's 2.5s like Ethan Goddard here. He's just looking to add the 2.5 kilo to his subtotal. He could have added a bit more.
Yeah, look,
Q&A get ready.
I,
We're looking for
I agree. He probably could have added a bit more. I think they're playing the long game. It's like, you know what, we could add more here, but let's save something in the tank for our deadlift, and then we'll go all out in that final lift and see if we can do anything and move up the rankings a little bit.
He did get a yellow from the side referee, and just looking at that replay, I can see why the jury has overruled it. It
They
was
have.
for glute lift.
Disappointing for him. Maverick Riches now Great Britain, 120.
But keeping in mind that Goddard just lost the 2.5 because that's the jump he decided to take.
Three whites. Gets it on the board. Well chosen lift. Pierce Mason now, 127.5.
5 attempts to make changes for 8 weeks. The bars loaded.
3 whites. He just drops that straight to his chest, doesn't he?
Yeah, there is no descent. It is just a straight drop. So the fact he was able to keep that tight on his chest and push it was impressive. I wonder if he will continue to do that as he goes through the age categories, or will he develop a little bit more control on that descent?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he develops. Laurie Lindberg now, Finland, 127.5. Interesting choice here. Didn't get the 122.5. I can't recall the reason behind that, but they've gone up to 127.5 here.
Yeah, he's had a number of infractions on both lifts, but no 3 white lights so far for the Finnish lifter on bench.
Well, the weight was fine, but again, we've got 2 red lines, both red cards here. That would be elbow depth.
Yeah, it will be, and you'll be able to see it here on the replay. He even got one from the left side referee, and judging depth from the side referee, it is hard, but you can see it if you are in the right position. I mean, I can see where the refs were coming from. The Finnish coach is at the jury table asking them to reconsider. However, I don't think it was a bad call from the referees on the platform, if I'm honest, Gary.
Yeah, look, you've got to make the decision at that point on the platform. And now it's up to the jury to determine whether or not he'll be overturned or not. So Carlos Maria Rios Lopez, 130, and it has been overturned.
In favour of the Finnish lifter.
Yeah, so it's a good lift. And look, and this is precisely why we've got a jury. Referees have a split second to make a decision. You don't get to sit there and watch a slow motion replay and study where the elbow is and look at it exactly. You know, so you've got to make the call on what you see, and then if there's something to be changed, then the jury can manage that.
No, absolutely, and as well with the centre referee judging bench depth, but also giving a press command in a timely manner. It's really hard.
There is a lot to do out there. So, you know, I want to reiterate that a jury overturning a lift is not a negative approach or look towards a referee in any way whatsoever. We have juries for that reason, and referees have those split seconds to make a decision. Juries get to study and look at the lift and, you know, look at the replay, and they've got time to go, oh yeah, well yeah, that does look okay. So it is not in any way negative toward referees. Ryan Samuel now from Ireland, 320, 320 kilos, 130, 300, she should go for a light one today, 130 kilos.
Oh, a little bit stuck there, and he is just unable to get through the lockout.
That is a no lift, unfortunately. Lee Tai Q now from Canada, 132.5.
Personal best attempt of 2.5 from Michal.
Q taking a 2.5 kilo jump up from his second.
Yeah, that's a pretty normal jump for second to third in bench press in any weight class, really. I mean, some of the heavyweights you might see some slightly bigger ones, but in bench, you know, 2.5, 5 kilos, that is a standard sort of jump.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, Gary, it is a smaller muscle group that is working through on bench press as opposed to squat and deadlift.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been in the gym and training and had a really great lift, and it feels fantastic, and it moves really fast, and then you put 2.5 kilos on it, it staples you to the bench.
Second is ready.
Timmy Chow now, 132.5.
Yeah, Canadian lifters following each other there. Q did get 3 whites on that 132.5, hoping Timmy Chow follows suit here. Chow did have the issues on his first attempt with depth and glute lift.
He's got a red light with a yellow card for the side referee, so we'll have a look at the side replay, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm concerned it might be for the same thing as the
Yeah.
first lift, but I have my fingers crossed it's not.
The bar's loaded.
I think the jury's already reached for the button there. Yeah, they have
Indicating
overruled it. It was pretty clear.
for Canada.
Daylight through there. Probably could have driven a Mack truck through it.
Oh, don't be mean, Gary.
I'm just calling what I see.
That's all right.
But he's on the board. He's got a total subtotal in there. Just needs to lock his deadlift away now. You got to Stephen now. This is the one we're interested in watching. He opened at 120, jumped 10 kilos to 130, and it was tough. And now another 10. I'll tell you what, he moved that faster off his chest than I was expecting. But that 10 kilos is just a bit too big a jump.
Yeah, he probably could have done a 5, like he probably would have been able to push through that sticking point. But 10 kilos on a difficult second.
Yeah, and that really took a lot of energy from him as well. Nelson So from Australia now, 152 and a half. And that's a big lift on any statement. And it might be enough, you just never know, it might be enough to get him into the medals for the bench.
Yeah, he is looking to, well, he's got 3 white lights, but that is close to the openers in that A flight. So if things...
You never know, he might find himself on a podium.
No, exactly, and just yesterday we had some moments in bench press that we were not expecting, which meant the projected medals were shaken up.
Well, we are into the B flight, the A flight now, sorry. Daniel Pan Arenas from Sweden will open at 1:30. He picked up the bronze in the squat.
White light submitted. For the superstar for Xiao in China. Is that winning
The 3 white lights. Alejandro Xi from China, 132 and a half.
Yeah, we have openers in this A flight ranging from 132.5 kilo, or 130, sorry, as Pan Arenas just did, right up to 157.5 kilos, Gary.
Yeah, there's a big range there, isn't there?
There is, and the current bench press record in the sub-junior 74 kilo class is 170.5, which is not enormously out of reach for Greece, particularly if they take jumps like Nauru did.
It's certainly, I mean, it's certainly not unheard of, and it all depends on how he trains. And just waiting on the referee's lights there for Alejandro.
Oh, we might have to go paddles again because there are technical issues. Pressing the button more times won't actually help. We've got 3 whites. It is a good lift for the Spaniard.
Gets that one on the board.
Chief referee, the bar's loaded. Baclayan gets ready.
We've got a board issue, so it's Isaac Welling. So you might have seen Alejandro's name come up on the screen for a moment there. It is Isaac Welling now, 132 and a half.
Yeah, Isaac didn't have the best day on squats. His first was beautiful. His second and third, the breaks just came on a little bit quicker than he was expecting. But he was one of those athletes, Gary, that did have a slightly rough time with his weight in the last couple of days, which it's hard to deal with anyway, let alone managing your weight when it's a little bit high.
Yeah, it's always tough. Doesn't mess around on the bench though.
No, he does not. We are messing around with the lights though. Not intentionally, of course. I would never. We've got 3 whites there from our referees with the paddles. I'm just going to stay standing.
So you don't intentionally sit there messing around with lights out on the referee's chair?
Not at this level. Maybe at a regional level.
Artyom Bakhniak from Ukraine now, 135. And we'll use the paddles again. Oh, we've got the lights back. 3 white lights. It's a good lift.
We do have the white lights back, so I was standing for no reason
Phelps gets ready.
except to show off my nice
Loaded.
orange SBD t-shirt. SBD, of course, supporting the media team as well as the lifters on the platform.
Yeah, look, I love how the sponsors of Lyco and SPD don't just they're not just sponsors. I mean, they support athletes, they support teams. They're there when you need them. I mean, how many times have I seen athletes' luggage get lost, and our sponsors are there, handing them equipment to make sure they can lift and compete. And that looks like a good lift.
Yeah, a nice smooth opener, but again, lights, we are a little bit slow. We will go to the paddles again.
8:30.
There are 3 whites. It is a good lift for our
Same weight for
current
Jack Phelps.
favourite in this class.
The bar is loaded.
Well, Jack Phelps from
Get ready.
Australia will be our next lifter out at 145. Didn't have the best day on squats. Let's see if he can have a better day on bench.
If you say that for both Australians, it's bound to be true for
Well,
one of them,
well,
Gary.
that's what I'm figuring. Oh, I'm right this time. Well, that was fast. And we'll see if we get the
Category
lights or the
1,
paddles.
2, and 3.
And looks like we've got 3
US
whites. It
guys,
is. It's a
same
good
weight
lift.
for Phelps. Same weight for time, USA.
So Ben Tran,
The
US
bar is
now,
loaded.
145.
Alyssa, get ready.
Just a few more openers left in this A flight here. We are getting up in numbers. It's looking pretty good. I think we're in for a good bench session, which hopefully means we'll be in for a good deadlift battle later in the day, Gary.
It's nothing like a deadlift party on a Saturday afternoon.
Especially when the attempt change lights flash and the coaches are all fighting to get to the attempt table.
We've got a lot of data and information in our screens here, and recently they changed the attempt light flashing up on the screen from a tiny little one in the corner to a giant one that comes across the entire screen. But nobody told me they'd changed it until I was blinded by a flashing red light of an attempt change.
3 white paddles for Tran from the USA, which is excellent. We do want all openers on the board.
Keep referee.
Bulgaria next out with 150.
The bar
Kalyan.
is loaded. Tran still gets ready.
Shot. 150 on the bar. And we have lights or paddles.
Jack. 1, 2, and 3.
3 white paddles for the Bulgarian lifter. It is a good lift. It must be a little bit nerve-wracking, Gary, when you are waiting for the lights and you have to then look for the paddles. We're looking 3 different places instead of just at the screen for the lights.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, for athletes, I mean, it is a nervous wait. I mean, no matter how good you thought your lift was, you still have that nervous wait, from those referees. And if you happy to not be able to look directly at the screen now to get that confirmation, probably does add a little bit more stress for them. Georgos Prestitis. No, sorry.
Should be
Graham
Graham
Steele.
Steele. Looking a little bit confused. I think the referees were trying to focus on getting their lights fixed. However, at this stage in the game, we should focus on the lifters. The media team is doing their utmost to get the lights sorted for the lifters.
And Graham Stewart with what looks to be a good lift. He seems to think it is.
3 white lights.
And he said, easy.
Final number 157.5.
And he gets the 3 whites.
Class G is Greece.
Now it's Georgos Pastitis from Greece, 157.5. And then we will move into round 2.
Yeah, round 2 in the A flight, looking to secure subtotals and scare the other competitors out of the running. If he gets this, it more or less will secure him gold. However, there are second and third attempts that might push him out a bit.
He made short work of it.
1, 2, and 3.
We are waiting for paddles again. 3 white
3
paddles.
whites.
It is a good lift for our Greek lifter.
So we come into round 2 already with Arenas from Sweden, 137.5. Now our current standings, you see Nelson So still in the bronze medal position from the B group, but likely to be pushed out of that position.
Yeah, it would have been a real hero's tale for him to stay up in those bench press medals, and it would have been really cool. But our A flight is looking really strong with their bench press. Definitely having more success on their bench than they did in the opening squats, Gary.
Yeah, there were some tough squats out there today. 3 whites. Alejandro G from China now, 140 kilos.
Really maximising the use of that full minute for his setup. He does have a bit of time left on the clock.
We make short work of it.
And again, our lights are, oh, white.
3 white lights.
Bar is loaded. Counted Patayan gets ready.
Isaac Welling, New Zealand, 140.
Yeah, a 7.5 kilo jump up from a relatively smooth looking opener.
Well chosen lift as well.
Yeah.
Moved well, still some room to move, still a bit of room to add some more to his third lift.
Yeah, what would you put there if you were a Team New Zealand coach, Gary? We're waiting for paddles. 3 white paddles for Isaac.
Yeah, look, I'd be very much on the fence between 2.5 and 5 kilos. It wouldn't be any more than 5. I'd be having a good, really quick conversation with the athlete, get him to tell me how he's feeling. You know, was any of that difficult? Was it just slow? Was it painful? Get as much information as quickly as I can so I can ascertain whether it's going to be 2.5 or 5. From the looks of that lift, without having a conversation, I'd be adding 5. And the Archon looks like a good lift.
It does, and 3 white paddles. It is a good lift.
147.5 for that time.
The lights are really having a moment during bench for the 74s. It is unfortunate. It's kind of annoying as a referee as well because you can't be specific with the infractions and you'd actually have to verbalise to the jury what you saw.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to have to hold up a red paddle with a little blue paddle.
Yep.
And maybe a yellow paddle as well.
Yeah,
You're
and
going
we
to need
don't.
3 or 4 hands.
Yeah, I don't have 3 or 4 hands or yellow, blue, or mini red paddles.
So Ben Tran from the US, 147.5. It is one of those things that happens in sport. Unfortunately, sometimes our technology lets us down a little bit.
Flags again, please. 1, 2, and
Ventran looks like a good lift. Oh, we've got a red card from the side
Good lift
referee.
for time.
Yeah, one from the side that we're on, Gary. Not sure what that was for, anyone's guess with the paddles, but it was 2 to 1, so it's a good lift until the jury decides otherwise, which they have.
It is a no lift for try.
And they seem to be...
It's overruled for a yellow infraction.
Oh, it has been. There you go.
It could have been head lift, heels lift, glute lift. Oh my goodness, Gary, it could have been
There's
anything.
a million infractions. Jax Phelps from Australia, 152.5. Three whites, it's a good lift.
It is, and it was white lights, not white paddles.
I just noticed that myself. That caught me off guard. So 157.5 on the bar now for Kalyan Paniatov, Bulgaria.
Right now, all medals are in the UAE.
And that would temporarily move him into bench silver, just on body weight. It is the same as our Greek lifter's opener. However, our Bulgarian lifter is quite significantly heavier.
There's quite a bit in it there.
700 whole grams. I say that like it's a ton, but in a sport with weight classes, 700 grams can make the difference.
And just struggling with that there, so doesn't get that lift on the board. Yeah, 700 grams, I mean, obviously it makes a difference with body weight advantage and disadvantage, but it also makes a difference to your IPF points as well.
Yes, of course, and the IPF points, what best lifter overall is classed on.
And Zane Miller makes absolute short work of that one.
Yeah, that was so fast, and it was because he's so technically proficient. He got a really quick press command as well. That was phenomenal. I don't know where Team GB go from there. That was a 15-kilo jump, Gary.
Yeah, and it moved so well. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see them put in another 7.5 kilos on that. Graham Steele now 160.
Oh, we have some fun stuff coming up in the bench press, Gary. I've just seen what Team GB has put in for Zane's
Yeah,
third.
there it is. Well, you called it earlier that Zane wasn't that far away. You said there was a possibility. Interestingly, we expected it to come from Georgios. Graham Steele gets a good lift on the board. Georgios Pachitas from Greece now, 167.5. Now his opener was good. It's a 10-kilo increase. Well, it was smooth, but I wouldn't say it was super convincing. Gets a red card for the center referee, likely for elbow depth.
Yeah, and the thing is he struggled on bench depth as well. So I can kind of see where that centre referee was coming from, but the jury don't seem overly convinced either way. They don't think it's egregious enough to overturn it, so that lift will stand. It'll be interesting to see how Greece retaliates to GB's nominated third, keeping in mind that you can't change your third bench press once you've
No, once
nominated it.
it's in there, it's stuck there. So, yeah, Yorgos has, limited options here. Add another 2.5, go to 170. Or, does he go a fraction more than Zane Miller? We'll wait and see. Sweden now with a good
The
lift.
white lights indicate 145 for Xiao, China. Isaac Welling, get ready.
Alejandro G from China now for 145. We're into round
The
3,
bar is
so
loaded.
interestingly, Yorgos Piatas has put in 171 as well. So both Zane Miller and Titus are looking at the world record.
Yeah, Zane Miller has the lower lot number, so he will be taking it first, which means that if he gets it, Georgios will have to be put up to the next increment of 2.5, or does he get to chip it?
He gets the chip because it's a record.
Fabulous, but it will mean that the pressure is on Miller to take it. Miller's second looked more convincing than
I
Georgios.
would agree
Yeah.
100% with that. Alejandro G 145.
Three white lights for Xiao, personal best of 5.
Yeah, I think
Isaac
Georgos,
Welling, 145.
I think a
Welling,
2.5
personal best.
jump from
The bar
167
is
and a half,
loaded.
170 was probably
Switch.
where he's at. But, you're in a world championship. That 170 is 1 kilo away from a world record attempt. You've got to put it on there.
Exactly.
Isaac Welling now from New Zealand, 145.
This will be a PB bench for Isaac after not the wanted squat session.
I don't think anyone ever wants a squat session like that.
And
Oh, a well chosen weight to finish
Good
on.
morning, good lift. That's new from
One
yeah,
yellow
Isaac
card.
Welling.
the yellow card's from our side, Gary, so it won't be the
147.5.
side that we get on the
147.
replay. It'll be interesting to see if we can see the
Bounce
infraction here.
Smooth Isaac Welling. The bar is loaded.
And it's going to get overruled, I think. It has
Ready for
been
vote.
overruled by the jury, just
No
but
personal best for
leaving
Isaac Welling.
the bench there.
Yeah, that is
First up,
unfortunate.
Isaac gets ready.
However, it was an equal PB for Isaac, and he gets 2 bench presses on the board. The butt lift was not as big as
Yeah, look,
previous.
all that aside, the technical infringement aside, that was a well chosen weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ben Tran from the US, 147 and a half, missed it on his second.
Three white lights use
3 white lights on his third, though.
Artem Baklayev unites same weight, 147.5. The bar is loaded for
Artyom
Kick
Vaklyak,
2.5. Best of
Ukraine,
170.
147 and a half.
Three white lights,
Three whites.
new personal best for Baklayev.
Yeah, a very smooth third attempt. There was nothing really there to suggest that it was
Yeah,
anything more than super comfortable.
yeah, it was well chosen. Jax Phelps now 157 and a half.
Both of them get ready.
And Michael Jones there in his corner.
It's cool to see the pipeline from athlete to national coach and sharing your experience with young athletes like Jax.
Yeah, it's really good to have that sort of experience handling you, people that have been here before. Well, I don't think he has to worry about elbow depth.
No, his elbows were well
Five
below the
seconds
base of the
max.
bench.
157
Three
point
whites.
five for William Panayiotis. The bar is
We get
loaded.
to the business end now.
Brad Steele is ready.
Yeah, we've got 4 more third attempts here, and they are gonna be crucial. Panayatov's 157.5 still leaves him out of the running for a bench medal, but it does mean that he is building kilos for his subtotal.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he can get this one on the board, it shifts him up to fourth in the bench press, which is very respectable in a solid field like this. And he does just that. 2-1, a good lift. We'll
Yeah,
see what the referees say.
one from the side here, our side. You're not going to see it on the replay, however, it might be visible.
That's a tough call on that one.
Yeah, there was lift, but I don't think there was no contact.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. That's a really hard one to call. I think the jury thinks there's no contact. They have overruled it.
Oh, tough day to be a 74 sub junior, Gary.
I mean, that's sport, isn't it? Sometimes it goes in your favour, sometimes it doesn't.
No, exactly. And if you are wanting to collect 3 white lights in all your lifts, you do have to make sure you are hitting comp standard, no questions asked every time you train.
Graham Steele now, 165. He is in the silver medal position. This should take him into, yeah, this will take him to, he's in the silver. He's guaranteed at least a bronze, 3 white lights.
Yeah, coming into the very, very business end of bench press here.
Yeah, hold on to your socks, don't go away. If you haven't got your snacks and drinks, it's too late now, because at 171 it goes onto the bar for the first world record attempt of the day. Zane Miller from Great Britain. And I gotta say, his 160 looked massive, looked fantastic, but this is an 11 kilo jump after a 15 kilo jump.
Yeah, big jumps in bench press. I don't think it's out of the question though, Gary. It was smooth work from Zane in his first attempt and his second attempt and all of his squats.
Yeah, everything's been looking really, really good today. And you called it, you said it wasn't out of grasp, and it got 3 white lights, and that's what you want. So he has the world record in his pocket.
For now, because that forces Greece to take an extra chip because they cannot both hold the world record at the same time.
So it's 171.5 goes on the bar for Georgos Pachitis from Greece. Currently, Zane Miller has the world record at 171, and he has the gold medal. Can Georgos take it off him?
The bar is loaded. World record attempt.
Something to keep in mind, Gary, that these two young men, should they be successful, they still need to hit a total for the world record to count, which means
That's right.
it's not official until that first deadlift gets white lighted.
I think he's got this. I think he's just taken the record and the gold. He has 3 white lights. Who saw that coming?
Oh my goodness! And
What a finish. Just bowls the coach over, takes down the chalk barrel. What a way to finish that round. Unbelievable. Nobody saw that coming. Zane Miller put up a fantastic 171, and Yorgos from Greece comes out with 171.5 for the world record. And there it is, your overall your results for the bench press. Yorgos with 171 and a half in the gold medal. Miller 171, held the world record for a moment, and Graham Steele in the bronze medal position with 165. And there are our current subtotals, and we'll get through round one of the deadlift, and then we'll be able to start looking at where everyone finishes as well. Don't go away. We're going to be right back here in 10 minutes time to watch the deadlift unfold as well. Welcome back to the 2026 IPF World Sub-Junior and Junior Classic and Equipped Powerlifting Championships live from Sun City, South Africa, and brought to you by none other than Aleko and SVD. And we are just about to get into the business end, the pointy end of the day with the deadlifts. There you can see the bench press results. What a finish. Georgios from Greece with 171.5 for a world record. Straight after Zane Miller sets the world record at 171. That is a fantastic way to finish. And of course, we get on the board now with Ethan Gotthard with 160 for the deadlift. And I'm joined by the one and only, straight from the briar patch in New Zealand, Brer Rabbit, bringing the New Zealand perspective to the commentary booth.
It's a pleasure to be here, Gary. It's nice to share the commentary booth with someone who understands my accent.
I thought you were going to say someone with such age and wisdom to make some sort of wisecrack about how old I am, but
someone with your tenure.
Tenure, well, that was nice. And yeah, the first one on the board there with Ethan Gotthard. And this is the most important lift of your whole day, to get that first deadlift on the board so you can actually lock in that total and then start looking at, finding your way up the rankings a little bit. You might not be in the running for a podium finish, but, everything adds towards team points. You want to get as far up the rankings as you can. Timmy Chow now from Canada, 195.
We have had a few lifters in their flight drop their opener. Obviously, warm-ups weren't feeling conducive to the original game plan.
Yeah, and of course, this is the also important lift for Zane and Georgios as well. I mean, they've got to lock this in so their world records actually count. If you don't put a lift on the board in your deadlift, then your world record doesn't count. You have to have a lift in every discipline.
Yeah, and that would be a rough end to the day for our favourites in this class.
He got off balance at the top there, yeah, and I thought that was before the call as well. Unfortunately, he didn't get the down call before he got off balance there.
It's hard to see an infraction to do with the commands on the live stream. Obviously, the replay doesn't have sound. The coach is at the jury table. The jury are having a chat.
Well, we'll see what they say about that. Right now, Lindberg from Finland, 200.
The jury have
overruled.
overruled
They have overruled and claimed he got the down command before that. So, and if that is the case, it's a tough one to call though as a ref, isn't it? Because I mean, the lifters respond so quickly to the down command that they're almost right on the command, putting it back down. So as a referee, from the side, if you're not the one giving the call.
Yeah, especially if the centre referee hasn't lined up their verbal command with their gesture.
Oh, that's a good point as well.
Which is something I'm super conscious of when I'm refereeing, making sure I'm lining them up so there's no confusion for the lifter.
Yep. Carlos Maria Ruz Lopez now 225.
We are having fun with the lights here again in Sun City with the deadlift, but we've got 3 white lights on the board. It was just a little bit delayed to build the anticipation.
And we talk about how important this lift is into putting, to lock away a world record. I remember being in Stavanger World Equipped Championships, Chinese Taipei world record squat, not counted because he didn't get a deadlift on the board. And that is a tough one to take home.
And that would be a disappointing end to the day. Our Aussie lifter did get a yellow from the centre referee. I'm wondering if it was for command again.
Maverick Riches now, Great Britain, 235. And of course, the deadlift, probably the least technical of lifts, I think. I mean, obviously for the lifter, you don't have to wait for a start command. You walk out, set up lift. You only have to wait for a down command as long as you finish in the locked out position.
Absolutely. However you stand up with it is good enough.
That's entirely up to you, isn't it? And as long as you make sure you stay in contact with the rail when you're putting it back down as well. I've seen, unfortunately, many power lifts by people getting overexcited.
Yeah, and I've actually been watching lifters training videos over the last few weeks, Gary. The juniors and sub-juniors do get really excited and they end up throwing their bar down in excitement, but it leaves their hands, and that just won't pass on the podium.
Nope, that's not going to get you a lot
platform.
on the platform. 240 on the bar for Piers Mason. And looks like a good lift, gets it on the board, locks it away. His total is now in place and he can start chipping away. You're the Stephen, 250. Some very, very big deadlifts today. Although I don't think our record is in danger at 320.5 kilos.
No, our biggest opener out of both flights is 270 kilos. So Team China would have to take some massive jumps for their lifter to even consider trying to break that record.
You're the Steve up with his open lift there. And yeah, we've got 3 blue cards there. Brett, what was that for?
Blue on deadlifts can be for supporting on the thighs or the double movement of the bar, and it was indeed the double movement. He had a bobble there. It is with sumo more common because of how you're positioned.
Yeah, that wide stance with your toes pointing out a little bit reduces that center of gravity, reduces that balance point. Lee Tai Q from Canada, 250. Yeah, the wider you get, the more unstable it becomes.
Yeah, you have to be really certain with your bar path to not let it pull you off balance or push you off balance.
Pretty white lights. Go straight to Ryan Samuel from Ireland, 255. Getting the bar cleaned and in position there. You can ask for the bar to be cleaned anytime you like. And of course, the Eleiko bar with its patented waffle knurling is an extremely aggressive knurling on a bar. And amazing things to lift with, but if you've never lifted with one before, I highly recommend you do some training on one before you come to a World Championship event or before you come to a competition, because it is a very different feeling in your hands.
Absolutely, and it does of course make it easier to grip onto, but if you're not used to the roughness in your hand, it can be quite painful actually. We are waiting for the pedals, 3 white pedals for our young Irish lifter. Something I've noticed in the last couple of years, Gary, is there's a trend of lifters holding on to the smooth part of the bar while they are deadlifting sumo.
Yeah, I have noticed that as well. I honestly can't do that myself. I mean, the knurling gives you that extra little bit of grip, stops from slipping out. I think, a lot of lifters, you see a lot of lifters tearing their calluses and things like that on the knurling. I can't say I've ever had that issue.
You're just built different, Gary.
Maybe I just don't lift heavy enough. Maybe if I lifted more weight, I'd tear my calluses.
3 white lights for our South African lifter there, looking good going in to his final lift of the day.
Timmy Chow, round 2 now, 205.
It's quite disconcerting to see short socks for deadlifts, but because Timmy has elected to lift in a long singlet, he doesn't have to wear the mandatory long socks. His shins are indeed covered. The long socks are a hygiene and safety thing. Leaving blood from your shins on the bar for your competitors is not actually a good thing to do.
It's not a lot of fun either.
No, I can imagine.
3 white lights.
Flowing liquid finger exceeds 12.5 kilograms.
Great to see these guys making it look easy out there.
Ready.
Our South African lifter before Goddard, I didn't realise this at the
I
time,
did
Gary.
not pick up on that either.
He took a 30-kilogram jump from
That's
his
huge.
first to a second.
Lindbergh now 212.5. That is a massive jump.
Maybe Team South Africa were just looking to secure that total before letting Ethan push out his numbers. Oh dear.
Yeah, let's have a look at the replay to see where it went wrong. Looks like he's maybe torn a callus, like we were just talking about.
Yeah, unfortunately, kind of having really good skincare will solve a lot of the issues, like keeping your calluses filed smooth and making sure they're not at risk of peeling, especially at this level.
Yeah, you could see in the replay there, the bar shifted in his hand a little bit.
Maybe it was a grip thing.
I always do like it when your grip fails you on deadlift, and the first thing you do is look at your hand like you're accusing it of failing you.
Yeah,
How dare you?
It let everyone down.
Carlos Maria Ruiz Lopez, 240 kilos. Seeing a lot more double overhand hook grip than we used to years ago.
Oh, he has just,
He's just switched it
to a
around.
mixed grip.
I'm a big fan of the overhand hook grip if you can do it.
I can't, my hands are too small.
I trained a young sub-junior many years ago. Basically, I think we nicknamed him the Rottweiler puppy because his hands were so big.
3 white paddles for Ruiz Lopez there. We
Great
were just
job.
waiting on the lights.
Yeah, this young kid's hands were so big he could hook grip an axle bar.
That's living the dream.
Yeah, he was literally a Rottweiler puppy. And hands too big for his body. Nelson So from Australia now, 242.5. Three whites.
Over step number. Retaining his opener at 250. Marvin Richards.
This is the time of day where it gets a little bit challenging as a commentator, because they've started cooking lunch in the back room now, and I can smell it.
It smells quite nice. I'm looking forward to it, Gary.
You got the Stephen 250, so he didn't get this on his opener. He just got a little bit off balance at the top, if I remember rightly. This needs to be a little bit more focused. No bobble there, no off balance, that's really good.
It was. I wouldn't have said that that lockout was super convincing. I think it was because he was so controlled with it. From the side angle, though, it did look okay, and in line with.
I can see the referee's choice there. I think it's locked out, but because it was so, as you said, because it was so slow and controlled, it didn't really look like his hips really came forward.
No, exactly. And I mean, from the front, it's always hard to pick deadlift lockout because you can't see the line of the shoulders and the hips and the knees.
Maverick Ritchie's now Great Britain, 252.5. No messing around. 3 whites.
Yeah, that's all our B-flight lifters on the board, though, with Nauru making that attempt, which is great. These lifters can start pushing out for PBs, building totals. I don't think any of them are in the running to bump any of our A-flight lifters out of their positions.
So 265 in the bar for Piers Mason. Oh, it moves so fast and just
Schedule
gets
is
stuck
officially
before
lifted
it
in
can
position.
pull it all the way through.
267.5 for the
That
Australian team
is
coming out first of all, that's the 10th of
synonymous
November.
of the conventional deadlift.
Samuel, get ready.
It's fast off the floor, and this is where it gets tough.
The bar is loaded.
And surprising, the momentum didn't actually keep him going all the way through there, because he had plenty of speed.
Yeah, just that sticking point was a bit too much today. But he can come back and give it a crack on his third. I forget we are only in the second
Yeah,
attempt.
still got another one to go. Lee Tai Q, Canada, 267.5. Three white lights, it's a good lift.
Reversal events for Lee Tai Q.
Ryan
Then
Samuel now from
267
Ireland,
for Ryan
270.
Samuel to close the second round. Ethan Goddard, get ready. The bar is loaded.
Taking his time there. Three white lights.
Ethan Goddard and Samuel. Entering the third round, where Goddard will reach the milestone of 200, first to the best of 10.
Ethan Goddard now for round 3,
Samuel
200 kilos.
weighs 48
To go 160 to 190.
The bar is loaded.
And of course, the bar gets cleaned between every lift now for round 3. Interestingly, Goddard took a jump from 160 to 190 from his first to his second, 30 kilos, which is the 10 kilo jump from second to his third. So it'll be interesting to see how fast this one moves. What's he got left in the tank? Has he undershot the last lift, or have they picked it perfectly? And I think they've picked it spot on the money. I think maybe there was another 5 in there, but I think they took the
40 white lights for your
the
left.
lower
Closing
risk
the second
option,
round.
which is a smart move.
Timmy Chow, Canada,
Timmy Chow,
210.
210
Logan
for his third
Owen.
and final lift of the day.
The bar and loaded.
Gets it to the top. Gets the 3 whites. Gets the job done.
Laurenberg Goodman.
He is,
Gets himself a good total.
yeah, and quite emotional too. I'm hoping it's happy emotions, Gary.
It's quite an experience being at a world championship, representing your country, regardless of where you place.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of
The bar
build
is
up
loaded.
and lots of adrenaline on the day. There's just so much going on here. I'm not surprised these young men are feeling as heightened feelings as they are.
Yeah, it's quite an emotional experience. Lindberg from Finland now, 2:12 and a half. Didn't get it on his second. Looks like he had a problem with his hand, maybe a grip issue.
He
Not
gets
a
it
problem this time though.
to the top. And we're waiting on lights. I think we're going to have to go paddles. It'll be interesting to see what the referees say about this. He goes 2-1. I think the one on our side, Gary, red light for lockout. I wasn't super convinced either, if I'm perfectly honest.
27.5.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a little bit soft.
It was just,
You know, I've seen
Versus
just so many
34.
athletes over the years on their final deadlift to win a world championship just not lock out properly and end up getting red lights and losing the opportunity for a gold medal. And it's such a fundamental part of the deadlift. 247 and a half for Carlos Maria Ruiz Lopez. And 3 white lights, he's happy with that one.
27.5 for Ruiz Lopez.
yeah, the Spaniard has had some really tidy lifts today, Gary.
180 from Nelson So at
Nelson So
255
now
kilos at the world record.
255
There is a second get
for
ready.
Australia.
The bar is loaded.
And makes short work of that one.
3 white lights, new personal best. 2 attempts to maintain individual 8 and Stefan enriches. It's 260 to go.
Jutta Stefan now from Nauru, 260.
The bar is loaded.
Yeah, a 10 kilo jump up from the lifter from Nauru. His first he didn't get because he bobbled at the top. His second he got a red light in the centre. 4 lockout. I'm hoping his third is the most convincing
Yeah,
of,
let's hope he cleans it up a little bit.
yeah, of all 3 deadlifts. Finish on a high.
Yeah, I think when it comes to lockout and deadlift, you need to be convincing. You don't want to overextend and hyperextend, but you need to be very convincing that you are locking it out, and that's not going to lock out, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately he had his body hadn't quite pulled back into position, meaning he was just kind of stuck in that hinge.
Attention, get ready.
Yeah, and that's a difficult position. You can see where he's stuck there, you know, weight out in front of him. Maybe 60.
The bar is loaded.
Oh, he got it moving well, but just couldn't follow through. It was a tough ask, though.
Yeah, he did have the patience off the floor that is required For sumo, unfortunately, not quite there. But hey, I feel like that's what third deadlifts are for. They are for pushing the boat out a little bit.
Absolutely, they are for pushing the boundaries, going after something you've not gone for before, trying to get that total you've never had. You know, if you're not in the when you're fatigued, get that personal best, get that personal best total. You know, this is the opportunity to World Championship to go for things you've never gone for before. Piers Mason, 265.
Yeah, and as you said, Gary, if you're not in contention for the medals, these B-flight gentlemen, they don't really have anything to lose by pushing out for that personal best, for a nice round number, for whatever it is that they're after.
Yeah, look, you don't want to go home from a World Championship wishing you'd given a bit more. You
No.
know, oh, I should have gone for the extra 2.5 kilos. Don't walk away feeling like that. Put it out there, leave it all on the platform. Just can't quite get past that sticking point there. Huge effort, same place as before though. Ryan Samuel from Ireland at 277.5.
The final two attempts of this group, Korean Yisu Avery.
Yeah, a 7.5 kilo jump up for the Irish lifter. He did take a 15 kilo jump from his first to his second, so this is slightly more conservative as we would expect from second to third.
The bar estimated for Ryan Samuel's final 277.5.
Just didn't want to shift, I'm afraid. That's what happens sometimes in your last lift. Fatigue kicks in and nothing wants to move. Lee Tai Q from Canada now, the finish off the B flight with 280. And of course the rankings that you're seeing on your screen are irrelevant at the moment because we still have the A flight to come.
Yeah, something would have to happen drastically in the A flight for Q to remain in deadlift gold as he is currently. We still have 10 more lifters and openers that will be pushing Q off the podium.
Well, if he gets to 280, he's given himself an opportunity to take a deadlift medal.
He has indeed. We've got Shah, Bakulak and Miller looking to battle it out for those top positions.
But not today, unfortunately. So he has finished on 267.5, which probably isn't going to be enough to keep him in the medals.
No.
Overall. Or in the deadlift, sorry. Who move into the B flight now. And all these guys need to get their openers on. Of course, Zane, Miller and Gillius need to get their openers on to lock that total in so their world record attempts count.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the coaching staff for both those athletes did make sensible choices in terms of openers. I've just seen here that Artem from Ukraine has increased his opener by 32.5 kilos, Gary.
I'm not going to comment on that.
No. But we have seen some drops as well, so obviously coaches are paying attention to how things are moving in the back room, how lifters are feeling, whether fatigue has kicked in.
Jax Phelps with a good start. Might have to move to the old school paddles again, I think.
1, 2, 3.
And it is a
We'll
good
begin
lift.
from 3 weights.
It is. It is. Was quite ungainly though. It seemed a little bit lopsided.
Yeah, a little bit of a twist there. Yeah, the old mixed grip can be a little bit deceptive at times. Right, George now from Greece, 225. He actually put his opening lift up 2.5 kilos.
Which I can understand. I can't understand 32.5. The coach has also asked for the bar to be cleaned to give him the best opportunity of securing the total and locking in that world record.
This is really important to secure the total and make that look very, very easy. His total is locked in. His world record is locked in. And that is pressure off a little bit now. Ben Tran from the US, 230. Smokes that one. Like there's no tomorrow. I think even the replay is probably going to look fast here.
Yeah, he was going super fast, Gary. I was afraid that there was going to be a speed wobble, but he managed to control it right at the top, which is perfect.
Yeah, we do see that a bit, particularly with sumo. If you're rushing everything, you're pulling super, super fast, you can get a little bit off balance at the top, get a bit of a speed wobble, as you said. Isaac Welling, New Zealand, 230 kilos.
Isaac did drop his opener 7.5, so coach playing safe. He has got a total. He's made a total at the World Champs.
Yeah, I think it's really important to play it safe on that opening deadlift. You don't realise how fatigued you are until you pull that first deadlift. And you could walk around that platform feeling $1 million. You're bouncing off the walls, you've got so much energy until you go to pull the deadlift. And suddenly your body just says, nah, sorry, mate, not today. Graham Steele, 235. I hope to be calling that name in commentary for years to come. It's a fantastic name for powerlifting.
What, Graham or
Graham,
Steele?
yeah, Graham. Steele, what's that got to do with it? Almost as good as Max Power. Yeah, 3 white lights, locks that in there.
Yeah, this is looking good for our A-flight lifters, getting those totals locked in so they can start playing the numbers game.
The Pandaronas from Sweden now, 245. Three whites.
Another super snappy opener there, Gary.
A soupy snappy?
Soupy snappy. Our favourite British lifter and I don't know, 2-minute world record holder.
Well, it doesn't matter how long you held it for, he held it. And breaking a world record is just an amazing feat of strength, isn't it? You've done something that no one's ever done before. and gets it on the board, locks it in, total counts.
Yeah, and his total is a fair chunk away from next in line. However, we still have 2 rounds of deadlifts to go and 3 openers. Zane has pushed his GL points out past the 100-point mark, Gary. I think
That is huge.
it is massive, and I feel like that's one of those goals that people aim for at this level, is getting past that 100-kilo mark. Panaitov just getting 3 white lights there for the 250 kilos, and we're pushing out to our top 2 openers now.
Yeah, 262.5 on the bar for Artyom Balkliak. I remember he increased his opening lift by 32.5 kilos.
Going from 230 to 262.5, sorry. What was going on in the warm-up room for Team Ukraine to be like, yes, let's do this?
Yeah, I can just imagine the coaches, sitting out the back watching there. You know what? I think you can handle another 30 kilos.
Yeah, no small feat there. Let's hope it is the right decision for our Ukrainian lifter.
Well, it clearly was. I'm not sure who decided his original opening lift. They were clearly off by 32.5 kilos.
No, that is a huge jump. But I was saying earlier in the week, Gary, these sub-juniors have the benefit of youth on their side, and they're making gains so quickly. 230 might have been his top end a couple of months ago, but
Yeah, absolutely, and you're dead right there. I mean, sub juniors and juniors in the youth, particularly in the men, they make massive gains very, very quickly, and those gains come from 2 areas: one, mastery of the technique, and 2, just absolute strength gains at such a young age as well. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it could have only been a month ago that 230 was his planned top lift. A month down the track at Worlds, 262 is much more feasible. Alejandro G now, China, 270.
yeah, our biggest opener by quite a margin in this class. However, he's still 50.5 kilos away from the world record, so things would have to be going phenomenally well for China to even consider it.
Yes, we'd have to see an increase of 32.5 kilos each lift.
I don't know
Was
if
he pulling at his hamstring then?
yeah, I don't know if big jumps are going to be it for Alejandro. He was pointing at his hamstring, looking quite distressed.
This might be see how he goes. But I mean, if I'm a coach and I've got a young sub-junior athlete that's pulling at his hamstring, some complaints, I'm going to consider calling it for the rest of the day without risking injury. He's locked the total away. I get to assess the situation and see how he is. There are our current standings for totals at the moment. Zane Miller, Bakliak, and Petitas out in front there, but I tell you what, there's not much in it. And there is Petitas with another great lift as well at 235. He's doing everything he can to make sure he finishes near the top.
Yeah, he's not quite on the podium yet, but I don't think it is out of the question for Greece. Things would have to go south for some other lifters to make it a reality. But I mean,
He's pretty close there.
yeah, he's got.
You look at that. You look at that top 10 in the A flight, and there's not a whole lot separating. I mean, we're only looking at 70 kilos between the top and the 10th. And then, really, the top 5, there's not much in it at all. Jax Phelps from Australia with a very tough second lift at 237.5.
Yeah, I think his hips shot up really early and he almost ended up stiff legging that right to the top. It'll be interesting to see whether he can kind of sort that out for his third. Otherwise, I'm not sure there's many more kilos left in the tank for the young Aussie lifter.
Yeah, that's almost a sort of cross between sumo and conventional there. Graham Steele, 245.
That looked tough, Gary.
Yeah, that was a tough lift, that was.
Those were nice
It
and
was
slow
steady
now.
all the way through, but it didn't look overly
Almost going
convincing that
into
there's
the
much more left in the
exercise
tank.
part, but time for
No,
loading.
but as you said earlier, fatigue will be starting to sink in. It has been a long morning and long journeys for a lot of these lifters. USA to South Africa is no small feat.
Yeah, it's a long trip, and fatigue does sneak up on you very, very quickly. Isaac Welling now from New Zealand, 247 and a half.
A 17.5 kilo jump up from his opener, which is
Loading
quite
progress.
sizable.
Time to
I
follow.
do wonder if they're looking to make up the kilos he lost on squats.
I'm not convinced. Well,
Release
no,
after the
referees
break.
say it's locked out. They have a better view than I do.
Men's family USA.
He got a very quick
Royal Family
down
Representing.
command following lockout, so well done.
The marker is loaded even at night. Provisional top
The
10
Bentran now
separated.
from the US, 250. So move him into 8th position overall. Three whites, good
Provisional
lift.
top 8 in the weight class.
Kalyan
Royal
from
Family
Bulgaria now for
Representing
260.
260 kilos for provisional top 5 in the weight class. Tonight's winners get loading. Demands loading.
Three white lights.
Provisional top 5. Down to Ben Beller,
Just about
265,
through
second
the
straight
second
season
round of
champion of
deadlifts. Moving
Nepal.
on to the third round with a few more
Fourth
lifts
demonstrating
to
for
follow.
his 1st
Zane
position
Miller,
overall.
265 from Great Britain.
Seems to be pulling away from fast nutrition bandwagon. The bars loading. Final rounds to follow.
He's been having a great day so far.
continuing the great day with 3 white lights for his second lift. Team GB is just putting on a masterclass this morning, Gary.
Yeah, they've been really good all week, actually.
67.5. No provisional bronze in the weight class. Backhand and Xiao to follow.
A 22.5 kilo jump up for our Swedish lifter. Not unheard of, but a big jump.
Well, it's a big jump that doesn't seem to bother him.
For yourself, Alvarez is provisionally on the podium over Bakaya. But Bakaya has to answer now with 272.5 to get the provisional medallion d'or and provisional silver in the weight class. The bar is loaded. Xiao to follow.
Artyom Bakhtiak, Ukraine, 272.5. He is in the running for a podium finish in the deadlifts and overall. So he doesn't want to drop the ball here. Remember, he increased his over by 32.5.
He's got the same projected total as Pana Arenas, but Artem is significantly heavier, filling out the 74 class to the dot.
Well, that is going to cost him. I think that just kicks the door open a little bit there.
Yeah, and this is where it starts getting exciting, Gary. We have one more second attempt, and then we're moving into the third round of deadlifts, which is always the most fun of any powerlifting session.
So Alejandro now from China, 282.5. The Bakayak's missed lift there. It's probably opened the door now for Alejandro to push through a little bit further, because this will move him up the ranks a little bit.
He's already in provisional deadlift gold, but he is looking to kind of push it out of reach for any of his other competitors with this lift here.
Yeah, I think that would shut the door on the deadlift gold. Puts him up to silver overall. And it's a good lift.
He looks uncomfortable, Gary.
I think the way he's curling looks like a cramp more than anything.
Did he cramp in his opener as well?
I think so. Just watching, and we see the attempt changes coming in now.
Yeah.
This is where the coaches earn their money.
Yeah, exactly. Their volunteer money that they get gifted from their national federations. There is more attempt changes coming in.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're getting them in early now. So at the moment, Pashtitas from Greece should be our next lifter at 245. But we've got attempt changes in, so we'll just wait and see if that affects that at all. Jax Phelps has gone up 5 kilos.
Yes, which means that he won't be the first out for his third attempt. Are they going for a particular total for the young Aussie lifter? He wasn't quite in that podium running. He is currently projected 9th out of a class of 20 at world levels. That is not bad. We have another attempt change, Gary. I am not sure what is going on.
I think Jax Phelps just dropped his to 242.5. So he'll be our first lifter on the platform. Now he's just dropped it down 5 kilos. So he's put it up, decided to drop it down again, going 242.5.
Maybe the Aussies just wanted to make the most of their attempt slips.
Well, you've got them there. Why waste them?
Exactly.
You're allowed 2 changes.
Use both of them at the same time.
So we're at 242.5 for Jax Phelps. The bar will be cleaned between every single lift.
Yeah, giving the lifters the best opportunity of getting their third lifts up.
And fatigue just catching up there. Justitas now from Greece, 247 and a half. This will put him up into second overall. Obviously with multiple lifters to follow. So all he can do is put a lift in and hope for the best.
Yeah, if you're a lifter with a big nominated total, but your deadlift isn't making up the majority of that, you're having to pull earlier, which means you don't have the benefit of seeing what everyone else has done and playing that numbers game.
Yeah, it's quite a disadvantage to be in there. I mean, all he can do now is put what he thinks is the best he's got today. Hopefully, put it on the board and just let the chips fall and see what happens. So this will put him into second silver medal for the moment.
I mean, he does have a world record, so he can't be too mad.
3 white lights. I think that was a well-chosen lift there. I think there's a possibility that he could have had more in the tank, but it would have been a much higher risk. And given that he's sort of trying to get on the podium, this one puts him into silver temporarily. If he's taking a bigger risk and not get it, then he's out of the podium altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I might go out on a limb here and say that that was probably his most convincing lift of the entire day, Gary.
Yeah, it was probably his best one. Graham Steele now, 250. This won't put him on the podium. It'll push him up to 7th, keep him at 7th overall. 7th in the world, that's not bad to go home with.
No, but he has collected a bench medal with his 165. He was the only one of our podium to not hold a bench world record, which is a strange thing to say.
You don't see that often. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go.
No,
It's a no lift.
He just got it stuck at his knees and couldn't quite get it over.
255 for Ben Tran from the US.
20-kilo jump from his first to his second, 5-kilo jump from his second to his third.
The bar is labeled for event time 255.
255 on the bar for Ben Tran. Not sure what was going on there. Bit of a conversation between the jury and the technical controller.
Yeah, who knows? There is a lot going on. It's like a game of charades now between the TC and the spotters and loaders. We don't actually have any eyes on Tran at the moment. I am wondering if he is loaded 255 to give his competitors that minute extra and he has no intention of coming out. He's got 15 seconds on the clock, which means he would have to run onto the platform.
It wouldn't be the first time I've seen that, but I can see the next lifter in the wings there. So he is just going to let that time run down. Was it Ben that was pulling at his hamstring when he walked off?
That might have been the case,
I can't
yes.
recall, but if it was, then that's the right decision to make. Isaac Welling from New Zealand then, 262 and a half.
Yeah, a 15-kilo jump up, quite a big jump. Isaac was right on the line there with his lockout. I'm hoping that he has got this lift sorted. Yeah, all power to the Kiwis, I think. Gary?
No bias at all.
Zero bias here.
Of course not. We are completely neutral in the commentary box. Well, he was patient and it came off the floor, but unfortunately he just couldn't hold on to it.
No, he struggled to get those shoulders back. He's talking to his coach about grip. Isaac does have one of those really narrow grips, and I'm wondering if he is on the smooth part of the bar, which would make it harder to hang on to Gary.
Yeah, it certainly does. But he's got a long way to go, and I'm sure he's going to continue to develop into an amazing athlete. Karyan now from Bulgaria, 270 kilos. This is to push him up into the bronze medal for deadlift. And it'll actually shift him up to 4th overall. So some extra team points there, if he can hold on to that. 270 kilos. Yeah, and unfortunately, it just doesn't want to shift.
No, someone has turned up the gravity on the platform for these last
I
deadlift attempts.
hate it when that happens.
It happens all the time when I lift.
It's a regular occurrence when I'm training as well. I don't know what's going on. Zane Miller now, world bench press record at 171 kilos, now looking for 272.5 for the deadlift. He is currently ranked #1, and I don't think he can be beaten just looking at the numbers there. If he gets this lift, it takes him to 703.5, and I don't think anyone's going to chase that down.
No, he is the only lifter in the 74 kilo class with a projected total over 700. What did I say? 74 kilos, 700 kilos. I don't know.
Well, there's a number of kilos in there somewhere.
There's lots of sevens.
There's lots of sevens and lots of kilos.
He's the
It's his lucky number.
It's his lucky number. He's the only sub-junior 74 with a projected total over 700 kilograms.
Perfect.
There we go.
Well, we'd love to see him. I would love to see him finish this off strong.
His lifts have been immaculate so far today. GB has been putting on a clinic here in the 74 kilo class.
He gets it there. Referee says it's a good lift. That is the gold medal locked away. I cannot see any sort of miraculous lift being able to overtake that.
No, unless we see a Hail Mary attempt change coming through. But I don't think we are. I can't see any coaches at the attempt table.
No, someone would have to lift something like, I think Georgis would have to, Alejandro would have to do a 300 or something like that.
Yeah, it would be well over 300.
Maybe a 320.
Feel like Alejandro and Daniel have resigned themselves to silver and bronze. Not that that is a small feat by any means.
Absolutely not. Artyom Baryak now from Ukraine, 277.5. This will take him all the way from 5th overall to silver overall and silver in the deadlift as well.
That's a grind and a half.
Oh, is he there? Not quite. He's got the downward movement there from both the centre and the side referee, and probably lockout as well. Huge, huge chance there. Attempt change coming in. Can't miss it. It's enormous on our screen.
Coaches playing the game and how it's supposed to be played.
Yeah, it is Pan Arenas.
Yeah, he's put his lift down 2.5 kilos.
The third, he wants to surpass recent fastidis. So with a personal best of 12.5
This will
seconds,
move him to 4th to 2nd overall.
he would grab provisional deadlift silver and provisional second position in the weight class. Moving up a weight class has paid off for Pan Arenas in Sweden. provisional double silvers around his neck. 282.5. The bar is loaded for 98 pounds and ounce.
Yeah, second with Alejandro still to follow. And second, not by much either. There's only the kilo in it from the Greek lifters bench world record, which does make the totals either easier or harder to chase down.
Unfortunately, it's too heavy on the day.
Well, that one didn't want to shift either, so unfortunately, no joy there. And our last lifter in this round, Alejandro G from China, 240, 292 and a half. So this will take him to 677.5. He's made an attempt change. He's dropped it to, or has he put it up, did he?
He's put it down to
290
290.
now, so 290. This will still move him from third to second. He's guaranteed third.
He's guaranteed deadlift gold too, so this will be personal gain in the deadlift sense, but of course climbing that podium position overall not out of the question for our lifter from China.
Absolutely not. This is for a silver medal. He has the bronze, and it will also put him up to number one in the deadlift, so gold medal in the deadlift.
Technical is only guaranteed if you're pulling for a position here.
Nice.
Three white lights. Takes the deadlift gold and the silver medal overall. What a way for him to finish.
Absolutely, and he made a pretty convincing effort of it as well. I mean, it was a struggle, as you would imagine, at 290 kilograms, but there was also no question about it.
No, and that's the way you want to finish. You don't want to give them anything to think about. There are our deadlift standings after round three. Alejandro on 290 with the gold, Miller on 272 and the silver, and Samuel on 270 and the bronze. And our overall results, the world champion Zane Miller with 703.5 kilos. China's Alejandro G gets in there at 675, and Greece's Georgios Pachitas holds in there at 674 kilos for the bronze medal. What a way to finish. There is so little separating these top runners there. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. Of course, we'll have the medal ceremony coming through very, very shortly, and we will be back this afternoon
At 2 p.m. with a mixed session. It is both the 63 kilo women and the 83 kilo classic men, both of them heavily contested weight classes.
Looking forward to seeing you then.
acknowledged by the IPF, each and every member of the flight will receive a participation medal to remember their presence here in Sun City, South Africa for the 2026 IPF World Sub-Junior Classic Powerlifting Championship. On behalf of the ladies and the vice president of the South African Federation, and by Ian Berman of South Africa. With the participation medals in the handshakes, we're going to proceed to the squat medals. Starting off with bronze with 252.5 from Sweden, Daniel Palmarenas. Daniel, bronze medal please. Daniel, you're not listening. With 255, it's squat silver from Greece, Georgios Pastitis. And with the new personal best at 260, it's squat gold from Great Britain, Zane Miller. That is it for the squat podium, and thank you guys. Into the bench press medal, starting off with bronze with 165 for the USA, Graham Steele. In silver, breaking Elliot Sykes' record, but it only stood for 1 minute with 175 from Great Britain, Zane Miller. And in gold, with a new World Sub-Junior record of 171.5 from Greece, Georgios Pastitis. Double world records on one podium. Impressive, gentlemen. Thank you. Into the deadlift medals. In bronze with 270 kilos from the B group, Island Ryan Samuel. In silver, cruising to a 3-for-3 deadlift event with 272.5 from Great Britain, Zane Miller. And flying above the rest in deadlift gold with 290 from China, Alejandro Xiao. That's it. Thank you very much. Now to the final placings in the weight class. Holding on to a podium finish with 674 in bronze from Greece, Georgios Pastitis. In silver, edging Georgios by 1 your new 2026 74 Sub-Junior World Champion with 703.5 from Great Britain, Zayna Miller. Now I'm going to ask everyone in attendance to please stand up if you're able to for the national anthem of Great Britain. Congratulations, Zayna Miller. Congratulations to all of the Sub-Junior 74s. This has been a fantastic weight class to watch. And now, we are in our technical control that Khalid Zaidi from Singapore won last lap of honor around the platform for all of the 74s. That is it for the morning.